the schoolyard to the stadium, Aon has been helping Kiwis strive for sporting success on a local, regional and national level for over 20 years. We're proud to support New Zealand's sporting organisations and communities up and down the country. As New Zealand's leading insurance broker, we can also support you when it comes to your insurance. With expert advice and local service. From quote to claim management, we're with you every step of the way. Talk to your local Aon insurance broker today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the afternoon coverage here at the 2022 New Zealand Cross Country Champs. The venue is Spa Thermal Park here in Taupo, and boy oh boy do we have a lineup for you this afternoon. We are going to kick straight on into the women's under 18 5K, then the men's under 18, then we go straight on into the men's and women's under 20s, and then it's the big one from 205 senior women, 245 and the senior men's 10k each. Hamish Meacham joins with me here in the commentary booth. The sun is shining. Every man and his dog is down here watching here in Taupo.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, and it's a great crowd here actually at Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. And those last four races you mentioned, Hayden, it would be remiss if we didn't point out the under 20 races and the senior races are a big part of the selection criteria for the upcoming World Cross Country Championships, which are going to be held in Bathurst in Australia next year.
Absolutely. So let's run through the start list. We've got Scarlett Anderson, Lily Bellabou, Kate Borton, Brooke Bowen, Louise Brabin, Renee Carey, Olivia Clifton, Kate Curry, Layla Daniels, Lulu Davies, Montana Dory, Bella Earl, she's your under 18 cross country champ from last year, Amy Ellis, Samantha Fuchs, Grace Foreman, Zara Geddes. She's the New Zealand cross-country champion, so look for those two to have a good old battle. Stella Hammond, Leticia Hay, Caro Heinen, Lulu Johnson, another name to look out for, Georgia Jones, Lucy Jerk, Sarah Jury, she came first in the Waikato Plenty cross-country champ, Sasha Letitia, Sophia Lumbreras, Catherine Lund, second place at the New Zealand cross-country champs, recently beat Zara Geddes in the Otago champs. We've got Amy McCarty, Kate McCarty, Rosa Mayer, Karis Middleton, Neve Motley, Kendall Penny, Ella Smart, Heidi Stevens, Kennedy Taylor, Sophia Ulrich, and Sophie Robb is a scratch from this event. She'll be taking part in the under 20. So good strong field. They're going through their strides at the moment. And look, it's hard to call this winter running right now because the sun's out. There's barely a puff of wind. And we've got possibly the best cross-country course in the Southern Hemisphere to take part in.
I'll just quickly plant my flag in the ground, having been a former resident of Palmerston North and head of the LOC for the National Secondary School Champs when it was in Palmerston North. That course at Massey University, based at the Sport and Rugby Institute, is second to none, Hayden. We'd happily go head-to-head with anyone. And the big difference is obviously the Sport and Rugby Institute, that indoor warm-up area. Fantastic facility. I know our good friends at the Stream Shop who are bringing the coverage today would especially like all of the elevated viewing platforms and access to easy Wi-Fi. But they've done a great job here setting up at Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. And how big is this field, Hayden? It
It's
looks
good, strong field, probably
Yeah.
about 30 ladies lining up. And this is really the cream of the crop. You've got national secondary schools cross-country champions. You've got club cross-country champions from this event last year. And all going head-to-head. Good, strong field from the South Island have come north. And it's no easy feat getting north for these races to Taupo. But these girls have all done it. And boy, we are set for some fireworks. And one of the interesting things about this sort of event is that right now, all across the states, there are college scouts watching these girls very closely, because we know that a lot of these girls will be looking to go to scholarships in coming years. And so, kia ora, ladies and gentlemen who are tuning in from the States. Good to have your company. We're seeing some very speedy girls on screen.
And what I would say to you, USA track and field coach, don't just focus on the top 3 or 4 athletes here. And those top 3 or 4 athletes, they're likely to head off to Providence, Villanova, SMU, Stony Brook, the usual suspects. I'll give you a quick little anecdote. There was a girl who ran with me at Lamar called Amanda Clower, who would have finished no higher than 15th in this race when she was running. She went on to be a multiple all-conference performer at Lamar University, ran the NCAA regionals, and ultimately went to the World University Games in the steeplechase. And I think she still holds the Southland Conference steeplechase record. So,
Wow.
These girls back in the middle, towards the end of this pack, are fantastic athletes. New Zealanders are just, they're a hot commodity over in the NCAA system, and there's a reason for that. We're hard workers. We're good teammates. If you're a USA college coach, you should be licking your chops looking at this field, because these girls are great recruits.
And how cool is this? We've got one woman out the front. That's Bella Earl. She's your reigning champion in this age group. Can she do the repeat? And she has come here to play ball. It's a 5K course, so they'll do the one lap of the 2K course. That's the less hilly of the two. And then it's on to the hillier 3K lap. And Bella Earl has opened up, 20 metres, 30 metres?
Yep.
And they're barely, not even 800 metres into this course, which is... that's really laying down a statement. Not even on, or just at the top of your screen there. So big pack chasing her.
So Bella Earl, she's your Auckland cross-country champion. She's your North Island cross-country champion. Those North Island championships she won handily, going away 6-second win, and even more dominant at the Auckland championships, won by over a minute. So she's a quality athlete, Bella Earl.
And she won that North Island Cross Country Champs on this course. So did 4K in 14 minutes 54. So what's that, about 3 minutes 40 per K, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's moving around this course. I can tell you when I've talked a bit about this morning. When I got out and did my little 3K tempo run this morning, I was not running that fast. So here she goes, Bella Earl, running very well at the start. Zara Geddes, she's your national secondary schools champion from Otago. She is sitting in second place, and then it's the pack behind her.
Yeah, and good to see Bella Earl not afraid to kind of throw her whole body into this. The classical school of distance running is you want a relatively quiet upper body. But, there's some kind of more recent thinking that there's no harm in a little bit of balancing movement in the upper part of your body. You see her head bouncing around. Very, very similar to one Paula Radcliffe, of course, who is well known for some pretty extreme kind of upper body motion. Clearly didn't slow her down, having run 2:15 for the marathon. So, yeah, good to see Bella Earl. She's relaxed. That's the main thing, and running very well. Off to a handy start.
And it's great to see all these girls running so well, because this is really the next generation coming through. Last year at particularly the under-20s, but also the secondary school level, we had this great group of young ladies, the likes of Hannah Gapes and the Brown sisters and Penelope Salmon. I think she was just 1 year older than that, but there was a group of about 10 women who could all look at a potential national title turning up. They've all moved on to the university grades and under-20s, and now there's this new crop of young women who are following very closely in their footsteps. And right now, Bella Earl is tearing that pack apart. So
a quick little adjustment, tucks her hair behind her ear. So, yeah, looking very strong, very confident, Bella Earl. What was great to see, those shots earlier of the pack, a couple of 800-metre specialists in that pack. So I noticed Sasha, Letitia and Kate Borton, who on the track, great 800-metre runners around that kind of 212 to 215 range. A lot of 800-metre athletes wouldn't even come out and attempt cross-country. So great to see those girls out here. Well, not only out here, but running very well in that main pack.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to the 2022 New Zealand Cross-Country Champs. There's a little button right below your screens on YouTube with a little arrow. Hit that arrow share button and make sure that you send it out to your club mates, your friends, your whānau. Let's get eyeballs on screen, because there will be a lot of aunties and uncles and cousins and classmates who will not know this is going on and would love a little text from you for an excuse to sit on the couch for the next couple of hours to cheer on their friends and whānau. So make sure you hit that share button and let's get the word out, because it's 2 hours of hot action here in Taupo at Spa Thermal Park as Bella Earl continues this domination of this 5K race. She continues to lead this race, looking comfy. The question, of course, is has she gone too hard too soon on this challenging course? Because there's a lot of young ladies with a strong pair of heels, and they will want to try and hunt her down. But Bella Earl, she won this event last year in Dunedin on very similar terrain. And she's back again, hoping she can repeat in the same age group.
And it's actually really difficult to repeat in these age groups. Yeah. As athletes age, mature, as their training progresses, there's often a lot of movement. So if you can double up, fantastic stuff. You're really kind of marking yourself out from the rest of the group. And I'm loving the aggression. 2 Otago athletes in second and third, Hayden. I wonder if those two girls are going to work together to try and pull in Bella Earl in the second lap. So they've done the 2 kilometre lap. Now they're heading in to do a 1 lap of 3 kilometres. So one of the long laps. Those two Otago athletes, Hayden?
Yeah, so that's Catherine London, Zara Geddes, who have had a great old battle all winter long. So Zara took honours at the National Secondary Schools Cross Country Champs, just edging out Catherine Lund over the final stages. But Catherine put a minute on Zara at the Otago Champs. So this is going to be really interesting to see how that little internal battle plays out. But look at all these women. They're not too far off the pace. All these girls are running well under 4 minutes per K on challenging terrain. I think we've got Bella Earl running about 3 minutes 30 per K over this terrain as we see her continuing to hold that lead. But those 2 Otago girls are definitely closing. And we know Melissa Moon, who's the course record holder for this 5K course for the senior women, I think she set that back in the early 2000s, multiple world mountain running champion. She said you've got to pace yourself. You don't want to burn too many matches early on, because this course will make you pay for that.
Yep. So
the question remains, has Bella gone a little bit too soon?
Yeah, and so that's Catherine Lund from Otago closing the gap. Every 10, 20 metres she's closed. Oh, yeah, really. She's going to catch her by this next hurdle. So that's quite a major move there by Catherine Lund out of Otago. Zara Geddes now about 30 metres back in third place. Could be a little bit of movement because there's some very good athletes working in a pack.
It'll be interesting to see how these two attack these hurdles just around those bushes. We'll get a good view here. Great operating from our drone pilot in the sky, and over they go. So they're just a little touch on the top of that hurdle.
So the Otago champion now has passed the Aucklander. Be interesting to see if she presses home this advantage or if she's going to wait, play a little bit of tactics, maybe use some of the hills later on in the course.
So Catherine Lund timing her charge to perfection, about halfway through this race now, and the fact that they're on for about a 19-minute 5K over this terrain is just phenomenal how quick these girls are going. So they go through the forest section, as we see Tasman athlete, Wellington Harriers and Taranaki all out on the course.
Yeah, fantastic.
In the sun.
Fantastic to see some representation from the Tasman region. A big squad down, or up rather, coached by Julian Matthews and Anika Fitzinger, doing some great work with young athletes in the Tasman region. Of course, Julian Matthews, 2016 Olympian, over 1,500 metres.
That's awesome to hear that he's coaching, and Anika, who's a very well-performed distance runner. So this gap is really opening up. Catherine Lund has timed her run to perfection, just easing back, staying in the pack for the first kilometre, and she's just edged her way up. So what started this winter with a second place at New Zealand secondary schools is opened up to an Otago title. Could that Otago title become a national title?
You see her shorten her stride a little bit as she grinds up this hill, using the arms, eyes at the top of the hill, as you'd recommend, Hayden. Looking very good, Catherine Lund out of Otago.
And this is one of those portions of the course that, looking at the course profile, you don't really think there's a hill here, but there is a hill. And there's really no boring parts to this course. There's always a little up and down, or a corner, or some hurdles to encounter. The only boring part is the 400 metres as you come past the start-finish line.
And that's where the big crowds are, so that's not too bad at all.
So on screen we've got Louise Brabin. She's the bronze medalist in the 3,000 metres under 18 from back in March in Hastings.
Out of the Manawatu Wanganui region, the distinctive green singlet of Manawatu Wanganui.
And look at these scenes, beautiful course. You can see that little contraption down there as a frisbee golf goal. Is that what they call them?
Yeah,
hole.
Is
net?
it? Oh.
I feel like a net is more appropriate, but it's 18 net.
If you're a frisbee golf aficionado, feel free to hit us up on social media. Let us know what it's called.
So now entering the downhill portion, and this is a part of the track where you can really get rolling. You can really get those wheels turning over quickly. She will be coming up to about 1,500 metres left to run. So she's running just a fantastic second lap to this cross country. And as you can see on screen, she's got a pretty decent gap.
Yeah,
it was close just a K ago, and she's opened it right up.
Yeah, and she's looking very comfortable, Hayden, heading down to this kind of enchanted forest part of the course.
So they drop down this hill, down towards the Waikato River. For those who have been to Spa Thermal Park, that's down towards the hot springs. And so it's a reasonable drop down there. And then it's a turn up towards what we call Playground Hill. And that's the nasty hill with about 600 metres left to run. And once you're over that, then you've got that 400 metres drag race back to the finish line.
Yeah, looking very solid here, Catherine Lund. She's made a really decisive move. You see an athlete from the Waikato Bay of Plenty there. That is Sarah Jury, who was first at the Waikato Bay of Plenty cross-country championships on this course.
Kennedy Taylor leading out this group of three women. And look at these beautiful scenes. For those who are watching from overseas and don't know about this part of the world, we're right smack bang in the North Island of New Zealand on what's called the Central Plateau. And that river you see in front of you is one of, I believe it's New Zealand's longest.
Yeah, over 400 kilometres long, the Waikato River. So,
that sounds like a pub quiz question that you nailed at some stage in your life.
No, well, one of the great traditions of New Zealand culture is to is to introduce yourself in a way that links you back to the land that you come from.
Yes.
And so having spent a lot of my youth in Hamilton,
Referencing your awa.
I feel a real connection to the Waikato River. So, and I'm a bit of a nerd, so I do know that it is over 400 kilometres long, starting here in Taupo and running out to the sea at Port Waikato. So,
Talking about 400 Ks to go, or 400 kilometres, it's 1K to go now for Catherine Lund. So that great gap that she's opened up will give her a bit of breathing room as we see Rosa Maia of Manawatu Wanganui. And between her and a national title, Catherine Lund just has Playground Hill and then that 400-metre straight on the grass all the way home. But this hill it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how she tackles this one. There's two approaches here. She's got a huge lead, so no one's going to challenge her for this title, barring disaster. So she could kind of roll up it gently and then open up in the final few hundred metres to show off for the crowd, or she could just punch it, as recommended by Melissa Moon.
And what a turn of fitness when you think back. She came second behind Zara Geddes, her Otago teammate, at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Champion. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if she's opened up a 30-second gap on the lead. They're out of the picture right now. This is the final hill. And look at that good, strong determination, willing those legs on. This is where it hurts. This is where it hurts.
Yep. Good. Fantastic stuff. Catherine Lund from the Otago Centre. She's going to be able to open up her stride a little bit here as she heads into, as you say, Hayden, the last 500 or 600 metres of this course. She's going to come into our view soon. There you see the playground, hence the name Playground Hill. And daylight between Catherine Lund and second place, who I believe is still Bella Earl out of the Auckland Centre.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting battle for those second and third places because there were a lot of girls lining up not too far behind them. There's a lot of depth in New Zealand female distance running in the high school ranks, and it will be interesting to see if anyone can take them down. So there's Bella Earl. She was your early leader in the race. She set a very strong early pace. She couldn't quite hang on to that in the second lap, but she's certainly looking like she could come home with a well-deserved medal. But it is all about this woman on screen, Catherine Lund, second place at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Champs. She's turned that around to a first place at the Otago Champs, and now the Otago Champ is odds-on favourite with 250 metres to run to become the under-18 New Zealand cross-country champ. She's probably got, 150 metres?
Yeah, I've been
on
calling.
Bella?
Yes, correct. That's actually a huge lead. So the most decisive victory of the day so far is going to go to Catherine Lund from Otago, going around this top part of the course.
She'll get a chance just to look over her shoulder and confirm to herself that, yes, all of that work around the hills of Dunedin, running in the cold and dark of those winter months, has paid off because her form is coming to fruition for this moment to become the under-18 New Zealand cross-country champs. Here she goes, 50 metres to run after that amazing move she put in at the start of this lap. What a well-deserved national title for this young lady.
Absolutely fantastic running, a dominant victory for Catherine Lund out of Otago. In fact, I believe it's going to end up being close to a minute on second place. So fantastic running. And that time, Hayden, under 18:30 for 5K of very hilly cross country.
Very impressive. When we consider Melissa Moon's record, this is one of the top cross-country runners in the world in a time of, I think it was around 16:30. So she's not too far behind one of the goats of the sport in New Zealand. And here we go. Bella Earl, all that work she did early on, it's paid off with a well-deserved silver medal. She's tired, but boy, what a good day at the office, and certainly lit the race up right from the start. And in third place is your reigning New Zealand Secondary Schools champ. She will see her teammate, and she's got a big smile on her face because this wraps up a great cross-country season for this young woman who looks like she's had a nasty old stitch.
Congratulations from the teammate Otago, 1 and 3. There's your Waikato Bay of Plenty champion coming in 4th. That's Zara Jury. And now a flood of athletes, Tasman, Manawatu Wanganui.
Yeah, Brooke Bowen coming in. And now we're straight off into the men's under 18, 6 kilometres, 2 laps of 3K. We've got a big old field, as you can see on screen. We've got Casey Atkinson's Finley Bailey, Jackson Bigwood, Ben Brunner, Azrael Cabasau, Etienne Cologne, Toby Caro, Connor Chesney, Luke Cudby, Nick Davies, Reeve Dooney, Ruben Duca, Louis Idris, Luke Evett, Thomas Forrest Davies, Oliver Gulpin, Theodore Hardy, Finn Harrison, Matt Hill, Brooke Ironside, Connor Jameson, Luke Johnston, Joshua Jordan, Apicha Kothisen, Noah Lawson, Wilson Lee, Harry Loritz, Roman Matson, Maxis Mulvis, Jackson McKay, James McLeay, Oscar Munro, Ruben Moore, Jamie Mora, Callum Murray, Zach O'Dwyer, Finley Oliver, Jack Owen, Tane Patel, Max Polland, Daniel Prescott, Larkin Rabbit, Ben Scott, Angus Sevier, Daniel Sinclair, Cameron Walker, Thomas White, Max Wildbore, and Pi Wynyard. What a field. That was a large breath.
Huge field, and it's Nick Davies from Auckland showing out early. And Hayden, are you gonna nip off and try and grab an interview with Catherine Lund? Or
I will go and grab Catherine right now.
Fantastic. You're going to leave me in the hot seat. So I feel like I should apologise in advance, but I will do my best without the leadership of Hayden Sherman as he attempts to go and grab a live interview with the winner of the Women 18 National Championships, Catherine Lund. So as I mentioned, Nick Davies leading early, out aggressively, the Aucklander, third at the under 18 3,000 metre championships this past track and field season. And the field being stretched early with that aggressive leadership from Nick Davies. Swinging around, about to head up a big hill. Fantastic footage from the good people at the stream shop. Lots of kudos must go to the local organising committee from the local region here, Athletics Waikato Bay of Plenty. Canterbury athletes taking the lead now. That's Daniel Prescott, who was second at the New Zealand Under 16 Cross Country Championships last year. 21st at the, won the South Island Cross Country Championships and 8th at the New Zealand Secondary Schools. So some aggressive early running from Daniel Prescott from Canterbury. Looks like he loves a hill, this man. Really, really big leading group there. At least 12 athletes in that leading group. They will break up as this race goes on. These under 18 men running 6 kilometres, so they'll do 2 of the big laps of 3 kilometres. And back down the hill now for the under 18 men. Great field, looks like close to 30 athletes in this field. Fantastic representation from around New Zealand. All of our regions from the far north down to Southland represented. And it is the Cantabrian Daniel Prescott who's still leading this field. Looks like an athlete from the Waikato Bay of Plenty on his shoulder. And they've established a little bit of a lead, these two. So Daniel Prescott, the local Waikato Bay of Plenty athlete on his shoulder. And then a 5 metre gap back to that big group of 12. So that's 2:18 out of the Waikato Bay of Plenty. That's Louis Indris. Big smile on Louis' face there going down the hill. we're going to cut over to Hayden with that interview with Catherine Lund.
Well, thanks, Hamish. I've got Catherine Lund here, the winner of the under-18 girls. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how's the body feeling after that? Because you put in a big surge. I think you came from third and then onto that second lap. You really hammered it home. How's the body feeling after this pretty challenging course?
I'm pretty tired. Especially on the last bit over there, I was pretty tired.
Yeah, that hill's a pinchy little one, eh? But this has been an awesome season for you. Second at National Secondary Schools, and then you took out your Otago title. Have you sort of felt like you've been getting stronger throughout the winter?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I've just kind of been racing. It's been going well, so yeah. And
do you enjoy the hills? Do you get on the hills in the back of Dunedin?
Yeah, we have lots of hills, so I do quite a lot of hills. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what sort of would you do the Sunday runs, getting out on the peaks and climbing up some of it? Because I've done some of those hills out the back of Dunedin. They're brutal. do you hit those on Sundays and for your long runs?
Sometimes they're pretty hard. Yeah. They're very steep, so not too much. Yeah.
Now, what's next for you? Are you going to do the road season? And are you final year at school this year?
I'm year 12, so I've got one more year. And I'm probably not going to do many road races because there's a Adelaide cross country, which I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Cool. And that's coming up soon?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all the best for that, and otherwise we'll see you on the track, and then another year left at school, so another crack at that national secondary title.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Catherine, and well done again. Go and rest up. Great day at the office. All right, back to you, Hamish.
Thanks, Hayden. Great stuff, Catherine. Great to be able to get those interviews with our race winners today. And it looks like our under-18 men have bunched back up again. So, leading group of 4 athletes. We've got an Auckland, a Canterbury, and 2 of the locals from the Waikato Bay of Plenty. But it does still look like Daniel Prescott, who's pushing the pace. Louis Enders in there in second. That is Jamie Mora out of Auckland, in the blue of Auckland. And Matt Hill, the other Waikato athlete.
So right, this is looking good. These boys are running fast.
Yeah, they sure are. So there was a bit of a breakaway while you're away, Hayden, of 2 athletes. They came back together into a group of about 12, and now these 4 have shown themselves out. So it's Louis Enders, Matt Hill, Daniel Prescott, and who is the 4th one? It's Jamie Mora. That's correct.
All right, so these 4 athletes leading the charge here in the Taupo sun. Just beautiful conditions for cross-country. We really couldn't have asked for a better day. The forecast was for rain all week long, and we're expecting a bit of a mud bath, to be honest. But we've turned up here, and the world-famous drainage on this classic course has done its job. It's dry underfoot. There's barely a puff of wind, and these boys will be loving running in dream cross-country conditions as they come up to finish the first of their 2 laps.
Yeah, fantastic. And this top 4 look really comfortable. There's a bit of a gap back to an athlete from the Manawatu Wanganui region, and then back again to a pack of about 4.
But maybe Daniel Sinclair back there, who gained 4th place at the New Zealand Secondary Schools.
Yeah, these particularly these Waikato athletes looking pretty comfortable at this point in the race. Jamie Mora, he's your Auckland cross-country champion in this age group.
So these 4 leading the charge here in the under-18s, 6 kilometres round the hills and the hurdles of Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. So it's 2 Waikato Bay of Plenty athletes, 1 Canterbury athlete and 1 Aucklander. These 4 looking nice and strong, looking comfy, and maybe just keeping an eye on each other, testing each other's strengths and weaknesses. And it's one of the things Hamish Meacham, when you are running cross-country, you really get a feel for who's strongest on the downhills, who's strongest on the uphills, and just testing each other out for when it might be the wise time for you to make your move.
Absolutely. There's a real benefit in running in a pack. So often it'll come down to those last few hundred metres. But if you're running along next to someone for several kilometres, you get a sense of, is this person really good up the hill? Do they struggle a little bit over a hurdle? Am I faster down the hill? All of these things can go in and often you'll only get one chance to make your move. And what you want to do is make a move that's going to advantage you and potentially disadvantage the people you're racing.
So they're coming up onto this uphill portion at the start of the lap. You sort of gradually go uphill, and you don't kind of realize how tough this portion of the course is because you're feeling a little bit fresher. So they went through that first 3K lap in about 9 minutes 50, which is on this terrain very, very quick.
It is. And you've got the Auckland champion and the Waikato champion battling it out here at the moment. That's Matt Hill, the Waikato champion, Jamie Mora in the blue, the Auckland champion. And dropping off the back now a little bit, Daniel Prescott from Canterbury, who did a lot of the early work. Louis Indris hanging in there in third. So these three starting to kind of clear out a little bit, get 5-10 metres, would you say, Hayden, from Daniel Prescott?
Yeah, definitely getting a little surge as they went through that one lap to go, Mark, and also pulling away from the rest of the field as well. So this field was wide open. I had underlined a few names, but there were certainly no favourites standing out. So over this first lap, the guys who have really come here to play ball have stepped up. And you can see there some of our athletes just dealing with the slight unevenness of the surface. It's not a perfect golf course like surface. This is a rough and ready surface that gets frost, gets rain, gets volcanic soil underneath. So there's pumice. It's tricky to stay in your rhythm, and
yes,
it's one of those things that you might be quick over the road or the track, but if you don't have that strength, that core strength to handle the chopping and changing of every stride, it can really wear you down.
Yep, absolutely, Hayden, absolutely. As we see, the personification of strength here in these young men. Very good over the hurdle, heading into the longest hill of the course now. So that's Jack Mora out of Auckland, Matt Hill, your Waikato champion, and Louis Enders, also from the Waikato Bay of Plenty. And these three have really shown out a little bit. Lucas Martin, the race walker there, cheering on some of his friends. Great to see.
Good to see these guys really attacking these hills. None of the climbs are particularly long. You can definitely push through them nice and hard. But it's just the accumulation over the 6K that will get you.
Well, and we see that every time. The last lap on that playground hill is really taking its toll on these guys, right?
Yeah.
So your energy is sapped, obviously. You're a little bit puffed, but your strength is sapped. Your muscles have taken a beating. So it'll be very interesting to see when we get to our senior races how those guys go in the last lap. Up that
beautiful scenes. It's
magnificent.
A very picturesque part of the country. And for those who are watching from overseas, we've got the Waikato River, but that flows out of one of the most beautiful lakes in the country. It's definitely the largest lake in the country. Crystal clear water. Freezing cold in the winter as it is now, but in the summer it's a beautiful swimming spot. But these three leading the charge at the moment. They've looked strong right from word go, and we will surely see our champion coming from this three. Will one of the chasers come up and nab one of the minor medals? Looks like the two locals, the Waikato Bay of Plenty, duo are just easing ahead of the Auckland runner, Jamie Mora.
And that's all happened on this downhill, Hayden. So it's exactly what you were talking about. They've run with Jack Mora for a couple of laps now. Maybe they sensed a little bit of weakness, and they've pressed down this hill and immediately built up a pretty significant gap. So I think it's Matt Hill who's taking the lead. His teammate Louis Enders remains to be seen if he'll be able to get back on. There's a 1 or 2 metre gap there, but then yes, easily 10-15 metres back to the Aucklander, Jack Mora. So Waikato Bay Plenty, the host region. We're very proud of these two athletes.
Yeah, these two really showing they've put the work in. You know, when we talk about hill training for cross-country and for trail running, it's not just about running uphill. You've also got to practice running downhill technique. I've got a funny story, Hamish, about
love to hear
teaching
it.
downhill technique. I was teaching a group of about 50 adult runners, good downhill technique, and I thought, well, let's wind up the pace a little bit and show them how you can really float downhill and really maximize speed as you're going downhill. But halfway down the hill, I'm like, oh, I'm going a bit quick. And then the grass was a bit long.
Yeah.
Next minute, I'm head over heels, full cartwheeling down this hill, and got a standing ovation, and everyone just lost it at the top of this hill, all 50 of them, and never lived it down. Every time I see any one of those 50 runners, and I'm sure some of them are listening right now, they're like, that moment was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. And I just
I agree.
I love the premise because you're about to show these people exactly how to do it. So, yeah.
Amazing.
And these two local athletes from the Waikato Bay Plenty are showing everyone else how to do it. What I like here, Hayden, is are these two racing? Do they both want to win? Yes. But actually they're also working together because Jack Mora from Auckland, still back in third place, is a dangerous athlete. He's got a great kick. So these two are working together to try and press that advantage to make sure the Waikato Bay Plenty takes home the title no matter what.
So Louis Andres and Matt Hill. Well, we're coming up to the final hill. Will it be Matt Hill's hill, or can Louis steal this one on this final hill? I've got about 700 metres left to run on the 6K course. Looks like 3 or 4 metres just separating the two, and it is Matt Hill who has the lead right now. Has he timed his run to perfection to really push home this advantage up Playground Hill? Here we go. Here it is. This is where things are decided. As they grind up this hill, get the arms pumping, will the legs on for one last hill. It's probably about 150 metres to the top of this hill. And so far, Matt Hill has the better of the two.
Yeah, so at the Waikato Bay Plenty Championships, Matt Hill won this race by 3 seconds from his teammate Louis Enders. He's comfortably striding out. We don't know exactly what the lead is yet, but it looks like he's built up a couple of metres. He's built up 10 metres, just like that. So he's used Playground Hill to his advantage, Hayden.
And he will have 500 metres left to run as he comes through the trees. He will have a lot of local support here. Friends and whānau will have come here specifically to see if he can turn that Waikato Bay of Plenty crown into a national title. Here he goes, 300 metres to run. He has about 10 metres lead. Can Matt Hill hang on and claim a national title?
Yeah, he's looking very comfortable. About 220 metres left to go here, Hayden. The angle is a fantastic shot, but it's a little bit deceptive. They're actually running much faster than it appears on the camera. Matt Hill, very impressive now. Looks like he's got this one in the bag, Hayden. 150 metres to go for Matt Hill.
Yeah, has a little look over the shoulder, and that's his last opportunity to make sure that he has enough room to hold on to this national title. He opens up his stride, gets those arms pumping one more time. He will come around the corner, see the finish line, and see there a national title, and the under-18 New Zealand cross-country champs awaiting him. He puts his foot down. There it is. He will be your champion in the under-18. Clicks the watch. National title in the bag. Matt Hill, take a bow.
Very good running. About 19:28 unofficially. Here comes his teammate, Louis Enders, 19:35. fantastically quick running from these two athletes, Hayden.
Great work from the local athletes. Waikato Bay of Plenty doing a great job.
And is this, that's Daniel Prescott, the early leader from Canterbury. He's come up and got himself a third place, snatched the medal from the Aucklander, Jamie Mora, who will take fourth.
All of these boys running very quick, under 20 minutes for the 6K. That's a fast time, I can tell you, over this course, to be close to 3 minutes per K over this course. And there we see some of our boys just finishing off their day in the sun. And I will go and catch an interview with our champion.
Yeah, fantastic work, Hayden. Great stuff. And the women's under 20 race is underway. We'll go through a start list there when we get a chance. But we see the men's under 18 athletes streaming in. So all of the action, all of the time here in Taupo, the events capital. So the women's under 20 field, ladies and gentlemen. Siobhan Bale, Becky Blay, Abby Carver, Hazel Cook, Saskia Cosgrove, Emma Ferguson, Hannah Gapes, Amelia Green, Holly Harding, Peyton Lee, Joanna Poland, Isabel Richardson, Bo Ritchie, Sophie Robb, and Nikita Wayne. Fantastic field of about 16 athletes in this women's under 20 race. There is Hannah Gapes, the local athlete from the Waikato Bay of Plenty. Looks like she is taking this race by the scruff of the neck. Fantastic stuff. So as mentioned earlier, this race will play a massive role in the selection for our team to the 2023 World Cross Country Championships, which are set to take place in Bathurst, New South Wales, Australia. So essentially, if you win one of the junior or senior races here today, you've gone a fair part of the way to booking your ticket to Bathurst. So I know the selectors will be here today watching how the athletes perform over this course. So looks like two other athletes have joined Hannah Gapes. Hannah out of the Lake City Club in Rotorua, well coached by Jason Cameron, who also happens to be the competition manager for Athletics New Zealand. So great that a couple of athletes have pushed up to, apologies, Hannah Gapes still in the lead, so that's a group of second, third and fourth. We're going to go to Hayden now with an interview with your men's under 18 winner.
All right, so I have here the champion of the under 18 boys, Matt Hill. Congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
And big charge over that last probably mile or so. Looked like you and your teammate from Waikato Bay of Plenty really timed that downhill. Was that part of the strategy to really hammer the down?
Not really. I was just having to go fast, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so, yeah, thanks to Louis. I wouldn't have been able to pace it well if I didn't have him right on my shoulder for most of that race. So I'm pretty happy. With that. Here he comes now.
There he is. I wonder if we can get him over for a chat. Come on over, Louis. Talk us through how that race went, because the pace was on right from the start.
Yeah, so shout out to Andrew Lloyd, my coach, absolute legend, better than Craig Kirkwood.
You hit it first.
Yeah, so the pace was pretty on for the start. So me and Lou didn't really talk it through. We had a chat before that. Whoever wins, the other person has to do a forfeit. So I'm going to decide for him to do something. Yeah, pretty stoked with Daniel Prescott coming out pretty fast, and he set the pace pretty well and set it up perfectly for us.
Awesome. I'll bring in Louis as well. Louis, you had a really good run. Congratulations on the second place. Talk to us about how hard that last hill was on coming up past the playground there.
Oh no, it was great fun. Matt just had the strength to get past me, but I went as hard as I could. Loved the whole thing. Yeah. And talk to us about this course as well, because there's never really any boring moments, eh? Yeah. Nah, it was as a group at the start, so I kind of forgot what was happening for the second lap, and it just gave me a Friday. It was a bit scary, all the hills and downs and ups.
Love it. Now, talk to us. You guys really looked like you were running really well on the downhills, and we had a little yarn about downhill running on the stream. But had you put in a bit of work into downhill running in particular?
So me and my teammates, they're pretty competitive. So whenever we do like downhill work, like downhill strides or whatever, I always try to pick them off on that. So that definitely helped heaps. Not really much like in particular downhill work. I guess it's just let him go ahead and try to follow him, really.
Yeah, I mean, well done, boys. What's next on the cards for you both? Are you going to do the road seasons?
Yeah, so pretty excited for road and track and everything. Really excited for that. Got Aussie in a few weeks away, so yeah, pretty excited for that. Should be good fun, hopefully.
Awesome. You're heading over to Aussie as well?
Yeah, that's right. Just want to keep trying to beat Matt, and maybe that'll happen in Australia.
Love it. Love the rivalry, guys, and well done for a really great day here in Taupo. Well done for the national title, Matt.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Cool, fantastic banter there from those two young lads. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Craig Kirkwood has a rival coach in Tauranga, obviously, Andrew Lloyd. So, yeah, very lucky young athletes to have access to such quality coaching in the Waikato Bay of Plenty region. Speaking of quality, Hannah Gapes is the quality of this field. She's got about a 20-metre lead at the moment over her Waikato Bay of Plenty teammate, Bo Ritchie. Bo Ritchie from Hamilton/Cambridge. Hannah Gapes from the Lake City, Rotorua. Both very well performed. So it's interesting because you've got the 5,000 metre specialist welcoming Hayden back into the booth.
Thank you.
Great interview there, Hayden. So Hannah Gapes, better over the longer stuff, technically, classically. Has about a 20-metre lead on Bo Ritchie, who is the under-20 mile champion. So potentially a little bit better on the speed side of things. So these two will, you see actually Bo's kind of closed this gap a little bit, I think, Hayden.
Yeah, Hannah Gapes reigning champ in this race, and also took out the National Secondary Schools last year. I believe she's going to, what college is it in the States who won the women's cross country last year? I should remember, but she's going to the top college in the States, and I'm sure some of her future teammates are watching this with close interest because she will be going to join them in the States and I'm sure take part in the NCAA cross country later this year. But at the moment, it's all about the New Zealand women's under 20 national cross country champs. A few key points that we've mentioned about these races is if you win this race, you're going to get a very good nod towards the World Cross Country Champs, which are being held in February in Bathurst, Australia next year. So this is important for a lot of these runners, that they give a big nod to the selectors and put up their hand.
Yeah, and the selectors will be looking not only at the results, not only at the times, but how these girls attack the course. There is a common argument in our world, Hayden, that the World Cross Country is the toughest distance the toughest distance race on the planet, because it encompasses, it's a lot of your best marathoners, a lot of your best track guys, just all of the best athletes from all of the distances coming together and running over tough terrain. And so you've got to be fit, you've got to be fast, you've got to be agile, but you've got to be aggressive as well. Yeah. Internationally, cross country is very competitive. Speaking of competitive, this race is about to get competitive.
Yes, Bo Ritchie doing a great job on this uphill section of the course. Just to, you can see her just shaking out the arms, making sure the juices are flowing. Yeah. Just to edge up on Hannah Gapes.
Yeah, apologies, Hayden. Now, I think Isabella Richardson from Auckland is in third. We haven't had any shots of Isabella for a while, but last time I saw her, it looked like a bit of competition for third. But it's fantastic to see Bo Ritchie has worked her way up to Hannah Gapes now. So we've got a race on our hand. And, of course, Bo Ritchie, important to acknowledge, she's actually under 18. She stepped up to this under 20 race because it is the selection race for World Cross Country.
Yeah, we've had a couple of athletes do that as well. Sophie Robb is in that same boat as they tackle the trickiest hill on the course. And Bo Ritchie just rolls straight on by.
Ooh.
She's timed this race to really attack these hills. So maybe just holding back a little bit in the early stages to make sure she's got that strength up her sleeve.
A classic distance running tactic there. You work hard to get up to someone. You don't get up to them and stay with them. You roll past them right away. Push as hard as you can. And that's what Bo Ritchie has done. Can Hannah Gapes out of Lake City Rotorua respond?
Yeah, at this stage, if I'm Hannah Gapes' coach and I'm waiting for her in those trees, I'm saying stick on the back of Bo Ritchie, because this is your chance to actually benefit from a bit of a tow from her. But you can see Bo is just continuing to pull ahead and use that efficiency she's showed on the track, taking out the under 20 mile title down in Wellington at the Capital Classic, and really transferring that onto the flat portions and even the uphill portions of this course here in Spa Thermal Park. So these two leading out the under-20s race. Reminder, it's 6K, so they do 2 laps of the 3K circuit, which is the hillier of the 2 circuits we've got today.
Yeah, so it's Bo Ritchie, then a 10-metre gap back to Hannah Gapes, and we're patiently looking out our window to see who is in third. But it is a huge gap back to third, at least 200 metres so far. So these two athletes from the Waikato Bay of Plenty really stamping their authority on this race. And it is an athlete from the Manawatu-Wanganui region who's in third. That'll be Emma Ferguson, who currently is sitting in third. And on her shoulder from Wellington, that will be Saskia Cosgrove from Wellington, the Wellington champion.
Yeah, so Emma is the bronze medalist in the 1,500 metres from the national champs back in March, and also second in the 800. So,
yeah, and recently, so she's done very well to prepare for this race. She was over at the Oceania champs in July, running the 800. So, yeah, she would have had a very different build-up to this race than everyone else. Obviously, she's essentially extended her track season out a couple of months. So, yeah, well done, Emma Ferguson. So currently in third, but Bo Ritchie.
Yeah, tick under 11 minutes for that first lap. So moving very well to run about 3 minutes 40 per K over this hilly technical course. And there we go, Bo Ritchie really opening up that lead. She had to pull back quite a margin that Hannah Gapes had opened up early. But you can see there it's growing out to about 20 metres. Hannah needs to really focus on Bo and make sure that that bungee cord doesn't keep stretching. You can see Jason Cameron, her coach, just running alongside saying, stay with her, stay with her.
Yeah, Jason will be coming with the wisdom there. Jason Cameron, a very well-performed cross-country runner, went to a couple of World Cross-Country Championships and ran about 13:30 for 5,000 metres. And he's the architect of this championships coming to Taupo, so pulling double duty. But Bo Ritchie looking very strong up around this portion of the course.
So I've just looked up. Of course, it was North Carolina State University that Hannah Gapes is off to. So national cross-country champions in the NCAA Division 1. So great team for Hannah to be heading off to.
Yep, Bo Ritchie, a student at St. Peter's College in Cambridge.
And what age is Bo Ritchie? Sure, she can't be much past 16 or 17.
No, she'd be definitely not 17, I'd say. 16 would be my guess. So I don't think she would have attracted some attention from the college coaches, but is probably a little too young to be getting started on the serious recruiting.
She's only 15 years and 5 months old. So
both wrong.
There we go. So she's got a long time left in New Zealand in the schools circuit, let alone looking towards college. So she is running really, really well. There we see Peyton Lee, one of the great crop of young women, along with Hannah Gapes, who have now finished up their high school careers.
Peyton Lee off to Princeton University, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
So obviously quite an academically achieved athlete, as well as being a fantastic athlete. Really great to see her out, actually, because she is better known as a 800 type athlete. So she would have been well within her rights to try and not get too involved in cross country, but she's doing very well today. So great stuff, Peyton.
We saw Sophie Robb just leading out Holly Harding, both Auckland athletes running well at this stage. Siobhan Bale on screen as well from Auckland as our drone flies over the top of the trees. Oh, go up a little bit. There we go. Wow. Love this piloting from our drone crew, bringing these beautiful shots here from Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. You are tuned in, of course, to the 2022 New Zealand Cross Country Champs. This is the big jewel in the crown of the domestic winter here in New Zealand. All of these athletes will be targeting this as their key event for the winter. And as we mentioned, a lot of these athletes targeting scholarships over in the States, targeting World Junior Cross Country Championships next year and making those world teams. And certainly Bo Ritchie is putting up her hand for a spot in one of those teams for Bathurst next year.
Yeah, looking very strong up this hill, Bo Ritchie. Form hardly alters going up the hill, which is interesting contrast to some of the athletes we've seen earlier today. And she really has opened up that gap on Hannah Gapes, who we see here, number 237 from the Lake City Club.
Yeah, Bo, just keeping that stride rate up nice and high. You really, at this stage in the cross country, you've got to pay attention to all those little processes of maintaining good technique, keeping your stride rate up, making sure that ground contact doesn't get too long, and really just softening and making that stride less powerful. So,
yep, and so we can't be sure of this, but it looks like Peyton Lee from Auckland has moved into third place, which is sensational running from Peyton Lee. Very good stuff. She goes all the way down to the 400-metre event, where she has a pretty handy PB and runs on regional 4x400-metre teams. So we'll await confirmation from that. But here is the the Wellingtonian Saskia Cosgrove loping up the hill.
And look at that beautiful technique from Bo Ritchie as she makes the most of the slight downhill along this section and really opening up that stride. You can see she's still got lots of energy in the tank. She's probably 1,500 metres from home now, maybe slightly under. And 6K around the hills of Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. She has really opened up a lead on Hannah Gapes. After Hannah led in the early stages, it has been all Bo Ritchie for the last 3 kilometres. And boy, she's a strong athlete, really maintaining her composure and really shows she's put in a lot of work this winter to turn that speed on the track into strength on the cross-country circuit.
Yeah, and she hasn't had it all her own way over the past couple of years. She's had some ups and downs, Bo Ritchie, but it's great to see her really performing sensationally today.
And Hannah maybe just holding her side there. She definitely looks like she's in a world of hurt, so maybe a bit of stitch. Hopefully it's not an injury that's kicking in, but she didn't seem to be limping at all. But certainly in the hurt locker, which is, to be honest, where you want to be at this stage in a cross-country race.
Yep.
This is the most painful part. Get down this hill, turn around the corner, get up that last hill, and then sprint your way home. This is certainly the deep, dark stages of the cross-country. As Bo Ritchie comes flying down the hill, Peyton Lee, who we believe is sitting in about 3 years ago. Peyton had potentially 2 years ago, she doubled at the New Zealand Track and Field Champs over the 3K and the 1,500, I believe. Mm-hmm. And but since then has had a few ups and downs, and it's often the way for a teenage athlete.
Yes,
you get these purple patches, and then you go through these times when your body's just disagreeing with you, and it's important to just stay with it. And Hannah Gapes had a real purple patch this time last year, and your body finds its way through these patches.
Absolutely, Hayden.
And it's just important to not get discouraged, because by the time you're 21, 22, everything gets sorted out.
Yep.
The body works out what it's doing. You add all that endurance training and speed work and experience, and you really come into fruition. So I always say to teenage athletes, don't worry if you're going through a tough spot when you're 16, 17. they come right.
Yeah, you couldn't be more right, Hayden, and there is no one in our sport who has a clear run all of the way through. This is a challenging sport, and adversity strikes all within our sport. Interestingly, it'll be interesting to see the timing here because the under-20 men are lining up. We're going to stick with the coverage of this under-20 women's race, and it may be that we pick up the under-20 men as they complete their first lap.
Here goes Bo Ritchie up Playground Hill. This is the final obstacle between her and an under-20 national title at the age of just 15 years of age. She wills that body up this hill one last time, really focused now as we see the under-20 boys get underway, and that's going to be an exciting race that we'll tune into. But at the moment, the focus is certainly all on this young lady who is having a fantastic 2022, converting that track form into cross-country form.
I'm going to call it, Hayden. I think that's the fastest run up Playground Hill so far today.
You could well be right. It's certainly faster than I was this morning. Hannah Gapes willing her body up there. You can see she's in a bit of pain, but she's only 500 metres away from a silver medal in this race. And look at Bo. She's full of running now onto the flat. You can tell she's hurting. You can tell she's in pain, but she's putting all that to the side because right now, just 300 metres away is a gold medal in the New Zealand under-20s. She will add to her under-20 mile title with a New Zealand cross-country title. Look at Bo Ritchie enjoying this performance in the sunshine.
Yeah, and I hope she does enjoy this one, Hayden, as she comes up to the last 220 metres. She's going to take home this national junior title and all but seal her spots in the New Zealand team for the World Cross Country Championships next year. Very exciting stuff from this exciting talent out of Cambridge. Bo Ritchie comes from a running family, but she's really stamping her mark on the sport.
So here she comes. She'll have one more turn to go. She doesn't need to look over her shoulder because she's got about 150 metres back to Hannah Gapes. She will turn the corner onto the home straight. What a run from this young lady, just 15 years of age, out of the Waikato Bay of Plenty. She is your under-20 mile champion. Now she is your under-20 cross-country champion here on the 6-kilometre course at Spa Thermal Park. Bo Ritchie, take a bow. What a 2022 you are having.
Such a good run. Absolutely dominant performance by Bo Ritchie. Great stuff. And it is Peyton Lee in third at the moment. So we're going to see Hannah Gapes come around for seconds. Here's Hannah with 150 metres to go. Great run, taking the early lead, putting the pressure on these athletes. Hannah Gape. Yeah,
it looked like she hit some stitch or something. I'll definitely have a chat to her and see how she felt in that second lap. But she's pushed through it. She's pushed through the pain, and she will back up that win in this event last year to a silver medal this year. Great day in the office. Probably not the colour that she was after when she woke up this morning, but nonetheless, it's a wonderful run from Hannah. She will take a little lie down, seek out some shade, and that is a gutsy run from that young woman.
Yeah, fantastic running. And here comes Peyton Lee out of Auckland, off to Princeton University next year. They're picking up a fantastic recruit in Peyton Lee, Auckland City Athletics Club member.
Here she comes, 100 metres left to run. There is the finish line, that welcome sight. And she will see Hannah Gapes recovering, Bella Earl there, and she will make up the final medalist of this under-20 title. Well done, Peyton Lee.
Great running, Hayden. Fantastic running from these top three athletes. They'll all be able to put forward a good case to the selectors for the National Cross Country Championship. Catch a couple more finishes here in the women's under-20 race and then switch to the action with the junior men who are well on their way on their 8-kilometre journey. In fact, here we go. 1, 2, 3 Aucklanders leading out this race. The tall figure in third is Cameron Maunder. And then that is... So it looks like Ronan Codry from the Pakuranga Club leading, and it might be Christian Deval, his teammate there, running with him. Try and confirm that as soon as I can. So we see the finishers stream in the women's race. So North Island champion on this course over 5K was Ronan Codry. Also picked up the Auckland title. Cameron Maunder sitting in third is an under 18. He stepped up to this race. So that's Ronan Codry in second at the moment. And I do believe that is Christian Deval leading. So both of those athletes from the Pakuranga Club. Christian Deval hasn't been as active through this cross-country season so far. So Christian Deval leads from his Auckland and Pakuranga Club teammate Ronan Codry with bit of a gap back to Cameron Maunder. Cameron Maunder, of course, was third at the New Zealand Secondary Schools cross-country down in Nelson. And we're going to pass it over to Hayden, who has the winner of the Women's Under-20 cross-country championships, Bo Ritchie. Over to you, Hayden.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here I have Bo Ritchie, and I just asked her off camera. She looked really fresh coming into the finish, but I just asked her, did she feel fresh? And you said a definite no. Talk to us how you're feeling. Things started off really fast with Hannah getting out nice and quick. How did that first lap feel for you, first of all?
It felt like pretty fast, but my goal was just to keep in the second pack behind Hannah because I knew that she would have gone out fast in the first lap. So.
Yeah. And it seems to be the sort of moral for the story around this course. Like it's such a brutal course that just the constant up and down takes its toll. Was that sort of part of your plan, just conserving a little bit for that last lap?
Yeah, and going hard down the hills definitely because you make up so much distance. Yeah. Going down, yeah.
And once you started to break away, when did you start feeling like you had the national title in your grasp?
Sort of down that last, like the end of the course when it's just constant downhill, because I feel that I'm pretty strong on the downhill, just powering down. But yeah, I had a good idea in my mind that I was going to get one of the medals.
Cool. Now there's this last hill just coming up round next to the playground here. How hard was that? I mean, you're just hoping for it to be over?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was so hard. My legs were felt like 5 kg weights. Yeah.
And like you've got a good poker face because it looked like you're nice and fresh, but you were definitely feeling it on that last straight coming in here.
Yeah, my goal is to make sure the other competitors know that I'm not tired at all.
Yeah, cool. Now your goal in stepping up to do the under-20s was to get a nod towards the World Cross Country Champs in Australia next year. That's the plan for you.
Yeah, that's why I pretty much did this race to see how far up in the field I could get so I could get recognition to go.
Awesome. Well, that is definitely put the recognition out to the selectors. Now, what's harder? Last question. What's harder? You're the mile champ this year and you're also the under-20 cross-country champ. What's harder, cross-country or the mile?
Oh, I got to say cross-country. It's pretty tough for up and down hills, yeah, but...
There we go. We heard it from the source. Cross-country takes it. It's the hardest one out there. Well done, Bo. You did a great job out there. Congratulations on your national title.
Thank you.
Awesome. Back to you, Hamish.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hayden. Great interview, Bo. Very well spoken. The St. Peter's College student. I imagine some of her family will be at home watching. They should be very proud. Not only a fantastic athlete, but a very well-spoken young lady. Speaking of fantastic athletes, Christian Deval into his second lap now in the under-20 men's 8 kilometre race, so they've done a 2 kilometre lap. They're on their first of 2 3 kilometre laps now. Little forward lean into that hill, Christian Devel. He's built up a bit of a lead, looks like 10, 20 metres back to his club mate, Ronan Codry. Very strong runner up the hill. And there we see the pack. So leading that pack, Cameron Maunder in third. There's Luke Clemons, the steeplechaser, in fourth, off to North Florida University. And a big pack of athletes who could all feasibly challenge for that bronze medal. So not as strung out, the junior men in this race. Athlete from the Waikato Bay of Plenty, that is Ben Hennessy. He was third in the junior 5K, the National Track and Field Championships in Hastings. Very strong looking athlete. Is notable for a junior athlete in having moustache. You don't often get moustaches on junior athletes, but he wears it well, Ben Hennessy. Speaking of wearing it well, you look fantastic out there doing that interview, Hayden.
Oh, thank you. I actually just visited the barbers here in Taupo yesterday afternoon.
I can hardly tell. You're a bit of a hippie, so you tend to have longer hair.
Yeah.
I would have said you've been growing your hair for months, but that apparently is a haircut for you.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's definitely a haircut.
Yeah.
I'll blame the headphones that we wear in the commentary booth. So let's bring us up to speed because we're already 10 minutes into this race.
Yeah, so Christian Deval is running away with it, the Aucklander. He is the reigning... No, he hasn't raced much so far this season, Christian Deval, but he's taken this race by the scruff of the neck, leading from his teammate Ronan Codry, who is the North Island and Auckland champion.
So, of course, Christian, two-time New Zealand secondary schools cross-country. And I remember last year in the mud in Hawera.
And there's Cameron Maunder in third, looking very strong. Dad Simon Maunder, a sub-4-minute miler. Cameron Maunder, for a while there, was trying to decide between distance running and triathlon. It looks like we're pulling him over to our side, which is great. Nice. Sorry, apologies, Hayden. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just talking Christian Deval's surprise win last year at the New Zealand secondary schools. Absolutely atrocious, absolute mud bath in Hawera last year, and he really arrived on the scene, stamped his mark on the New Zealand distance running scene last year, and this year he backed that up with that big win again at the New Zealand secondary schools, and at the moment he's running away with this after he came second in this event last year.
Yeah, looking very strong, and particularly strong up the hill, I have to say, Hayden. It's very noticeable. He's working hard up those hills, but he's also very efficient. So we see some of the middle of the pack athletes. So that's William Larkin out of Wellington, looking very strong. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it all day if I can, Hayden. This is the cream of the crop nationally, so these are the best athletes. So these athletes running in the middle and even towards the back of the pack, they're well trained, they've got coaches, they're running usually, many, many miles a week, up to and over, in some cases, 100 kilometres a week. Very dedicated, hard-working, and fantastic athletes. If the average if any of these guys went along to a park run, they're going to win the park run by a solid, minute and a half, 2 minutes, right?
At least, yeah. These guys, we've got a few sub-15-minute 5K runners, well under 4 minutes for the 1,500 in this field. So, yeah, these guys are quality runners. We are missing a couple, the likes of Will Anthony, who are over in Cali, Colombia, for the under-20 champs. But, yeah, like you say, this man, Christian Deval, beat Will Anthony last year at the New Zealand secondaries, and he's really the firm favourite coming into this event and showing exactly why he deserves that title, because he's looking like he's just out for a Sunday stroll through the park.
Well, what's interesting, Annie, we'll see him push up this little pinch here, little playground hill. Very good running, Christian Deval. I tell you what I immediately notice, Hayden, which is, some people may say strange, quite long shorts for a fast runner, wouldn't you say? You'll see the normal cut of the shorts quite a bit higher than that, so I wonder if this is a fashion statement Christian Deval is making, or it's just more comfortable in long shorts. Any thoughts, Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, why not mix it up? The general thought is the shorter the shorts, the more aerodynamic, maybe, less friction you have. But as a man who will confess to chafing thighs, sometimes I don't mind a little bit more length to the short. But I usually go for the half tight. That's my go-to.
Oh, yeah. I used to love a bit of a half tight, but very famously, my coach in the States wouldn't let me wear tights because he said I looked, I'll use air quotes, disgusting in them. Thanks, Trey Clark, for the positive feedback. So, yeah, I was always a bit of a split short man. Loved my split shorts, but not so much for Christian Deval. Loves a long pair of shorts, and he's got a long loping stride. Little bit of a forward lean, very strong. You can just see in every stride he's absolutely powering through this course, Hayden.
The other thing with the split shorts, it's well known that there's nothing more attractive than a male distance runner in a pair of split shorts.
I'd agree. One of our producers is looking across and nodding in agreement right now. So just to update,
the flash of pale thigh every stride.
So
okay, let's move on. Change of subject.
On the actual race, Christian Deval leading. He's got amazingly 100 metres on his teammate Ronan Codry. Then back to the other Aucklander,
and
Cameron Maunder.
Check out the time. He's run 5K and a tick over 15K. Now, as an idea, and this will be a good gauge, Jono White owns the 9K record for this course. Now, that is a tick under 27 minutes, which is a tick under 3-minute Ks. So as soon as you're in the realm of running around about 3 minutes per K on this course, you are shifting, and it's genuinely world-class sort of pace, particularly for a young man of the age of Christian Deval, who is 17 years of age. Definitely no older than that.
Yeah, so incredible stuff, and he just looks so strong. Very, very good over cross-country. Back and forth, Luke Clements from Otago, still holding fourth position, which is great. Luke Clements, the junior steeplechase champion. And again, I think off to the University of North Florida, the Ospreys.
And a good little group here. 2 Aucklanders, 1 Otago, 1 Tasman runner. Always great to see the South Islanders making their way up north. It's not an easy logistical challenge to get to Taupo, which doesn't have I don't think it has a domestic airport anyway. I think most people have flown into Hamilton or Rotorua and driven down.
So that was Ruben Beard, the Otago champion, leading that pack. Here we go.
Yeah, just tempo running it out the front. Look at this running from Christian Deval. He's been the form high school runner this year in New Zealand, and he's just dominating this field of quality under 20 distance runners.
I think that picture we just saw there was the 5th through to 8th pack.
And this is 2nd and 3rd on screen. So that's Ronan Codry and Cameron Maunder. So could it be a Auckland 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, Cameron Maunder has closed the gap significantly on Ronan Codry. So Cameron Maunder had a pretty solid track season, but looking very, very good so far this cross-country season. He's an under-18 athlete, stepping up to this under-20 race, wants to put his best foot forward for World Cross-Country Championship team selection. And again, Hayden, really excited to have those championships happening just across the ditch in Bathurst, New South Wales, home of some car race, I think. I'm led to understand.
Yeah, you could be right. I've heard a couple of things in that direction.
I don't keep up with the minor sports, but I've heard whispers of something.
Is that where they race the V6s?
Who knows, yeah. Formula something or other. It always strikes me as funny because we're here watching a real sport with athletes who train hard, and then the athlete who does the best training and has the most talent will win. And then there's this other sport where you just drive a car.
Yeah.
And it's whoever's got the fastest car is going to win.
And we grew up in Palmy and Hamilton, the 2 most bogan places on the planet, so we should know all about this.
We should have a strong appreciation for motorsport. Don't even get me started on equestrian. But
there we go.
Christian Deval, here we go again up the hill, looking very, very strong.
And unbelievably, he's only about 1,300 metres away from the finish of this race, which is just unbelievable that we're talking about that and we're not even at the 20-minute mark. So he is looking great at the moment, just running out of his skin.
Yep.
I would hate to think how long this lead is, but he has really opened it up on this field.
And Maunder has moved into second ahead of his Auckland teammate Ronan Codry. Luke Clemons still back in fourth. Can Luke Clemons close the gap, or will it be an Auckland sweep of the medals here?
So Ronan is your under 20 5,000 metre champion from back at March on the track. But this isn't the track. This is the hills of Spa Thermal Park, the famous hills of Spa Thermal Park, where many cross-country dreams have been shattered.
Yep.
And many cross-country dreams have come true. And right now, Christian Deval is proving that he is a generational talent in the junior cross-country circuit. And look at these wonderful shots of the Waikato River coming up through Spa Thermal Park.
Yeah, and we were talking about this off air earlier today, Hayden. For some runners, they're so good when it comes to this off-road, this cross-country stuff, that they're not that much slower. For the average runner, there's a significant slowdown as soon as you go off-road. But for some runners, and I do believe Christian Devel is one of these runners, the difference is just not as good. The other one we were talking about is Jonathan Wyatt, who holds the course record here over 9 kilometres. But he looks so good over the surface, Hayden.
From my tempo run this morning, I would say it would be 25 to 30 seconds per K. It felt to me running on this 3K circuit in terms of what you would expect on the flat. So for this guy to be running pretty close to 3-minute Ks, it shows how efficient he is over these hills, how strong he is in terms of dealing with the lack of rhythm that cross-country provides. And Christian Deval expects some big things. Did you mention if he's got any talk from US colleges?
No, I'm not sure. So Christian and Ronan, who's in third, are from over in East Auckland with the Pakuranga Club. And so, I live in Auckland, and I'd like to think I'm pretty well connected. East Auckland, Pakuranga, it's like the Darklands. It's so
country.
far away.
Yeah.
It is literally from where I live. It's an hour drive to get out of there. So, I don't have much to do with these guys. So I don't have any insight. If anyone does have any insight, hit us up on social media. Probably Hayden. He's better on social media than I am.
Well, I can tell you now that Christian Deval's inbox will be very full from cross-country coaches over in the States.
He's the guy you want. He's the guy you want because he can go really, really well in your cross-country championships for your conference. He's going to be very good over 5K. I think he's going to be excellent over 10K. Now, as
1K to go.
Juniors in New Zealand don't get many opportunities to run 10Ks. This guy here, he looks like a guy who can really blitz a good 10K on the track.
So Christian Deval, he's got less than a kilometre to go now. He has just opened this race wide up, and he's basically doing a solo Saturday morning tempo run around the hills of Spa Thermal Park. He will have one hill between him and the national title. What a wonderful 2 years he's had. Last year he took home the National Secondary Schools title. This year he reclaimed that title. Can he add the national cross-country title to his enlarging sock drawer full of national medals?
And classic Kiwis, because those medals will be in the sock drawer. You wouldn't dare have the audacity to hang your medals anywhere public. We're going to have a bit of a crossover here. We're 2 minutes away from the start of the senior women's race, but we're going to stay with these junior men this championship. And here is Playground Hill. How will he go?
Yeah, pumping those arms, really trying to get those heels, those toes up this gradient. It's a tough little hill. Everyone I've talked to so far says that hill the last time was an absolute heartbreaker. And he's looking at the watch, just checking how he's going. Maybe he came in with a bit of a plan to run certain splits around this course, but it's been all solo running from Christian Deval. He was the firm favourite, and he's well and truly lived up to that billing as he comes onto the flat section of the course. He has 400 metres to run, boy, is this boy looking good.
Yeah, looking fantastic. And here's his teammate, Ronan Codry. Looking solid, but he's...
So he's out onto the sunshine on the last 300 metres. He will be able to enjoy this because there will be no challenge from second or third place. Here is that second place. Cameron Maunder, he put in a little bit of a surge and went past Ronan, and he's attacking that hill as we see the senior women kick off their race, which we'll cross over to very shortly. That race is absolutely going to be a... lightning race with a lot of fireworks to go off, so I can't wait to see how that one unfolds. But at the moment, it's all about this young man, Christian Deval. He will be looking towards the World Cross Country Champs in February over there in Sydney.
Really convincing win here from Christian Deval out of Auckland. Lap it up, young man. Fantastic running. Coming into the home straight, Hayden, what do you have to say about Christian Deval?
Here he is, New Zealand Secondary Schools cross-country champion. He adds the national title, the New Zealand cross-country under-20 champion, clicks the watch, jogs over the line. There we go, boy. Another medal, another national title. Well done, Christian Deval. And here we are back to second place with Cameron Maunder, who put that surge in about 1,500 metres ago, and it is stuck. It looks like he's going to take home the silver. Great run from him.
And here's the senior woman. That is Caitlin McCallum-Bell, I believe, leading early, who has recently returned from some time overseas, a lot of time in Australia. Great to see her running here today. Specialist steeplechaser. Here comes Cameron Maunder, but Christian Deval, fantastic running, your national junior champion. Time of about 25:37, Hayden. Good running. You know, I was lucky enough to spend a bit of time in the States, run collegiately. Around 25, you're running pretty well on cross-country. Those are pancake flat golf courses.
Yeah.
He ran 25:37 on a very hilly course. Here is Cameron Maunder celebrating his silver medal. Very well done, the under-18 athlete stepping up. And an Auckland sweep is confirmed. Ronan Codry taking out the bronze medal. Fantastic running.
Yeah, well-deserved medal there for Ronan. It hurt, but it will feel good in the morning when you realise that winter has become a bronze medal. And as we see on screen, that is William Larkin from Wellington. And our Tasman athlete just coming across the line now, Joshua Gill. Good run from him. He'll just miss the medals, but nonetheless, top 5 national champs. And coming over the line was Benjamin Rickaby. So great running from these boys. Fast running over the hills of Spa Thermal Park. And we will cross over to the women's race very soon because, man, this is going to be such an electric race because it's too hard to pick. We saw the colours of Waikato Bay of Plenty, Kerry White. She's your reigning national champion. But, man, she will have her work cut out for her. So let me run through as hitting the steeples is Caitlin Mcculken-Bell. But let me run through the start list. We've got Katrina Andrew, Natasha Bower, Naomi Brand, Bethany Bromfield, Anita Chan, Maya Christini, Miriam Clark, Genevieve Coffey, Lisa Cross, Sarah Drought, Charlotte Flood-Smith, Ryan, Esther George, Lulu Lloyd-Jones, Carla Lunt, Deborah Lynch, Holly Manning, Caitlin Mcculken-Bell, who we saw on screen, Hannah Miller, watch out for her, Amber Morrison, Emma Perrin, Anika Fitzinger, Olivia Ritchie, Aisa Shafi, Alice Sowry, Jessie Speedy, Danielle Stevens, Jade Vella, Stephanie Walker, Kerry White, Olivia Whitney, Jess Wright. A lot of speedy girls in that field. A few names that may not be as familiar for those who have followed the sport recently domestically, but the likes of Hannah Miller coming back from the States. Look out for her. She's been in good form, setting a marathon PB recently. And then, like you mentioned, Caitlin Mcculken-Bell. She's got a PB in the 5K of 16:44. So a lot of the girls around that sort of mid-16 5K pace, sort of 34 minutes for the 10K. It's very close to call.
Yeah, it should be a fantastic race. And again, you know, if you're interested in attending as an athlete those World Cross Country Championships happening in Bathurst, Australia, you're looking pretty solid in terms of booking a ticket if you can win this race today. Even the top 3 athletes will have a fairly strong argument. But a good pack of 4 emerging. Kerry White in the Waikato Bay of Plenty colours, your champion from last year. Caitlin Mcculken Bell, as you say, Hayden, Australia-based but running for Auckland. Hannah Miller, the marathoner, and Lisa Cross, Aucklander, jack of all trades, and the blue Auckland uniform at the back there, Lisa Cross. So those are your 4 leaders, and I've got to say it, Hayden, they are the 4 favourites.
Yeah, this is going to be so fascinating how this next 10K pans out. Now, how they make up that 10K, there's 2 laps of 2K and then 2 times 3K they will be tackling.
Yeah, and what we see here is Lisa Cross doing what Lisa Cross does. She loves putting the herd on, Lisa Cross. Coached by John Bowden, runs for the TTT Runners Club, where she also does a little bit of coaching. And she is tough with a capital T, Lisa Cross. So she won't be feeling great, but she loves to put a herd on, and that's what she's doing. So great to see these aggressive tactics by Lisa Cross early as we're coming up with having completed, well, almost completed the first 2 kilometre
2K.
lap. You're going to head out and try and grab an interview with our junior men's winner,
will.
Hayden?
Is he nearby? I will try and track him down as we see these 4 ladies running in the Taupo sunshine. And, man, this next 8 kilometres is going to be very exciting. Let me go and find a young Christian Deval.
Fantastic images here from our friends at the Stream Shop. The Athletics New Zealand Cross Country Championships 2022, Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. Lisa Cross looking very strong. The Aucklander, former police officer, leading from Kerry White, your defending champion. Hannah Miller, recently returned from the United States. Did several years at Southern Methodist University in Texas. Recently ran a very good marathon debut, but great PBs across the board from 1,500 metres on up. Caitlin McCallum Bell, and sitting in 5th, the Aucklander, who I should have mentioned earlier. Name escapes me at the moment. Good group here. Tasman athlete Anika Fitzinger has a little trip. Try not to say her name again. I've obviously put the knockers on her. 2 800-metre athletes there. Charlotte Floodsmith Ryan and Holly Harding. Lisa Cross now you see with a solid 20-metre lead. Hannah Miller on chasing duties, with Kerry White sitting in 3rd place. Going to cross over now to Hayden Sherman, who has an interview with our junior men's champion.
All right, so I have the winner here of the under-20s, the comprehensive winner of the men's under-20s, Christian Deval. Congratulations, first of all, and talk to us about the game plan coming in, because it was like a solo Saturday morning tempo run.
Yeah, so I think most of the time people always expect that I'm going to go out hard in these cross-country races, which is usually the plan because, I believe in my training and I believe that I've worked hard. So, I work on those tempo 2Ks, 1Ks, and I just feel that going out hard and trying to get a gap early is what works for me. So, yeah, that's what we win with today, and it worked out, so it's good.
Cool. And it seems like you're not afraid to take the lead and have a solo effort and just find your rhythm.
Yeah, I think if I can get out and just, get into my rhythm, it's easier for me to just stay calm mentally because, if I'm in the pack with the argy-bargy and stuff like that, then, it's hard. to stay strong mentally. But if I can get out solo, just push myself, and I think it worked well today. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, did it what? Now, 2 national schools titles. You've got this under-20 title. How's the inbox looking in terms of US colleges? Because surely there's a few people coming knocking.
Yeah, it's going well. I'm talking to a few unis, and next few months I'll probably be making my decision, which people will hear about. And it's getting to the sort of selection process, and talking to quite a few coaches, and it's going well.
Awesome. Next steps for you. Are you looking at Bathurst next year?
Yeah, that was one of the main goals, because now that I've won this race, I can qualify for the under-20 Worlds in Bathurst, which is definitely something that I'm gonna do. And probably next step from here is just focus on training for the next few weeks for school Aussie champs in Adelaide.
Awesome. Go and give it to those Aussies. Well done for a great run today. It was really impressive running. I think we got you at about 25 minutes 30 over the 8K course. So go and rest up, and can't wait to see how you go in Aussie.
Yeah, it should be good. And I just want to thank my coach, my parents. Thank God for just helping me through this race and just giving me the strength that I needed. Yeah.
Awesome. Well done, man, and we will be watching with interest as the next few months unfold.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Hayden, and great interview, Christian. Another well-spoken young man. Great to see. Lisa Cross has taken this race by the scruff of the neck. There's Olivia Whitney out of Canterbury, moving very well the upper half of the race. Through the brush there, Olivia Whitney. A couple of Wellington athletes. That's Emma Perrin from Wellington Scottish. We saw there the taller figure. Lisa Cross in the sunglasses. The sun is out. Looking very cool, calm and collected, Lisa Cross. She is tough, but she's also experienced. She knows what she's doing. And as I mentioned, a former police officer, but also, interestingly, Hayden, a former jockey, Lisa Cross, which is not a common cross sport adaptation.
Yeah, interesting sort of cross training.
I'm not sure how active she still is now, but I know up until fairly recently, she was still doing a little bit of jockeying work, just helping out with training, etc., etc. Yeah. So she's got a lot of skill and experience in that world, obviously, but her heart and her passion lies in running, and she'll be excited to be leading this race today. Here's 514 out of the Manawatu Wanganui. That is Stephanie Walker. Moving very well, Stephanie Walker.
And I can confirm Christian Deval is jumping in the car as we speak, heading north to make sure he doesn't stand up his date for the school ball tonight. So,
I like it.
I'm sure his date is watching this, and so whoever you are,
lucky young lady.
He is on his way home.
Yeah. That is a dedicated date for the ball. That is fantastic stuff.
His dance moves might be a bit locked up. Don't expect much on the dance floor tonight. So
it is actually funny with my coaching hat on. Heading into ball season, just for the guys, it is you don't hear much about it, but for the girls, it is a fairly constant source of conversation. And I had a bit of a chat to the girls that I coached earlier in the season and just said, look, no questions asked. You don't have to tell me anything. But the week of the ball, if you don't want to come to training, you don't have to. And they're all like, great. They're getting spray tans. They're getting their nails done. They don't want to come and do training at the track and, compromise the important ball preparation that they have to do. So,
priorities.
Yeah, I'm glad the ball season falls in the off-season for track and field. So
this is an amazing run here from Lisa Cross. She's really opening it up. So this is the end of the second lap, is it? Are we 4K in?
We are 5K in, so they've done one short lap and then one long lap. And so Hannah Miller in second, defending champion from Te Aroha, Kerry White, in third. And then in fourth place, Hayden, I forget this athlete's name. I feel terrible.
Is it Caitlin Mcculken Bell?
No, that's Caitlin Mcculken Bell there in our screen.
Was it Sarah Drought? No, she's coming in here, number 203. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong runner.
Yeah. No, I feel really bad not being able to remember this particular athlete's name. She was coached by Barry McGee for a number of years. Won a lot of national titles. If anyone can remember her name, please do text me and let me know.
Sorry, I was totally looking at the wrong part of the screen.
You'll know, Hayden.
I'll definitely
That's why I
know.
put you on the spot, because I knew you would get it.
It's not one of the runners who are recently married and change of name?
That's possible. That always makes things tough in the commentary booth, doesn't it?
It definitely does. But here we go, Lisa Cross. She's the elder in the field, using all those 39 years of wisdom and aerobic development to its best use. You can see that gap that she's opening up. That's quite incredible that she's opened up in the last, 2.5K?
Yeah, it is. She was the Auckland champion ahead of Katrina Andrew, a 20-second win over Katrina Andrew. Didn't run the North Island champs, but she's obviously kept her powder dry and is running very well here at Spa Thermal Park. Here's Hannah Miller, Kerry White.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's Olivia Whitney. So Olivia Byrne, formerly. Yes.
Okay.
So that is one of the recent name changes. So Olivia Whitney, Olivia Byrne. Many people will remember that name from. I think she did a good half marathon at the Auckland Half Marathon.
She's
year
won
or the year before.
I want to say she's
remember.
won a bunch of national championships, like on the road,
Yeah,
longer
you'll be
stuff
right.
on the track. Very, very well performed athlete Olivia Byrne. Now with the North Harbour Bays Club, so I think she's been coached by Paul Hamlin, one of the premier distance coaches in New Zealand.
Who isn't part of the North Harbour Bays?
Well, it is a good club.
It is a good club. All right, so talking about good clubs there, my old Wellington Scottish coming running on by. And we've got Deborah Lynch there. I think she represents Olympic in Wellington.
Yep, and great to see some shots of Anika Fitzinger out of Tasman. Both mum and dad Olympians for the USA and New Zealand respectively.
Of course, daughter of Pete Fitzinger, who's the Athletics New Zealand CEO. So
yes, and my boss. So
yes,
he'll be tuning in.
Good things about.
Yep, great guy, great family, fantastic stuff. No, good to see Anika out running today. I was talking to her before the race. She said training's been going pretty well and she's in relatively good shape.
Yeah,
so,
she's had all sorts of health issues over the years. So great to see her battling through those health issues and giving it her best here, and looking nice and clean over the hurdles is Lisa Cross, 39 years of age, but definitely showing she is full of spring in her step as she comes onto the long lap of the course. Sunglasses on, up the hills. My question is the last 3K that she's had to work to put in this gap, has it meant too much? And if one of the themes that we can take out of today is on this course, you do what Melissa Moon has suggested in the article on the Athletics New Zealand website. You've got to conserve some matches early on, and it feels like you can run fast because it's up and down. Well, it adds up.
There's some real quality athletes behind Lisa Cross, right? So you certainly hope she hasn't gone out too hard too early. And here we see Olivia Whitney looking very strong, number 530 in the blue of Auckland. Yeah, so we're unsure if Olivia Whitney is in second or still remains in fourth. All will reveal itself in time, Hayden.
So a reminder, in this event last year, Kerry White took it out by about 24 seconds over Anika Grogan and then Ruby Muir in third place. We are missing a few key names. I was hoping we would see Laura Nagel back, but she had just a chocker summer.
She
just
did,
winning everything possible on the track.
Well, and she's on a well-deserved holiday. I follow her on social media. She's been in Thailand for the past week.
Nice.
And
Good for some.
Yeah, and her partner are now off to Vietnam. So I
must
saw
be
that
nice.
and surmised she wouldn't be here today and thought to myself, well, yes, well deserved. She
Yes.
did win every national title from 1,500 through to 5,000 metres.
Yeah,
And
just
a lot
had
of
incredible-
classic wins in between. So
Yeah.
well-deserved rest as she pushes on to try and make the Paris 2024 Olympics.
And she was in PB form all summer long, which was incredible, considering the collegiate career that she had in her early 20s to now in her late 20s to be running the best she has ever run here in New Zealand. And look, proving that age is no barrier, 39 years of age, out the front of a senior women's national cross country. She could have just jumped in the Masters and taken on Sally Gibbs, but she's decided, no, I want to challenge the big one. I want to repeat my 2018 win. And here we are looking at Hannah Miller, who's looking nice and strong, just leading out the current reigning cross-country champ. And there is fourth place, Olivia Whitney, looking really strong. Maybe she's just keeping her eye on the other two in front of her. We've still got plenty of time for this race to unfold. Remember, it's a 10K race, so expect the winner to be around about 37, 38 minutes for this sort of course. But at the moment, it's all about Lisa Cross.
Absolutely, and we've said it once, we'll say it again, Hayden, how good is that scenery with the fabulous 400-kilometre long Waikato River in the background?
Yeah, and if you're watching from the South Island or from overseas and you've never driven the length of the North Island through Taupo, you always stop here for lunch. But before you grab lunch, you've got to stop at Spa Thermal Park. Follow that trail you can see on screen, because right there is amazing hot spring, natural hot spring that just runs into the Waikato River. And it's one of the best trail runs in the country to do, very close to State Highway 1, and just beautiful undulating trail running along next to the river, then finish with a swim in the river and a lounge in the hot spring. It's amazing.
Not a bad spot to spend a day and not a bad spot to do a little bit of commentary, Hayden. It's been a fantastic day so far. Lisa Cross looking very strong in this senior women's race. We've got the senior men's to come to finish off the program for today. But tomorrow, Hayden, we're back nice and early in the morning, kicking off at 9 a.m. for the inaugural cross-country relays, which are mixed, 2 men, 2 women, on a club basis. Going to be a really exciting morning of cross-country relay action.
Absolutely. That will be must-watch viewing amongst all the other sport that's going on. It's so great to be bringing you the National Cross Country Championships, and as you said, the first time we will have the mixed club relay, and it's so cool that it's being done by club rather than centre, because it really puts the focus for clubs to really build out both men and women in their cross-country depth. And it'll be cool to see teams put in not just one team but multiple teams.
Yeah, we really hope this will grow. Over the years there was a fair bit of discussion as to whether we would go with centre or club teams. Ultimately we decided to go with the clubs, with the grassroots, and we think it's going to, well, we know it's going to go really well. 22 teams signed up for tomorrow, but we hope that swells out. We hope it will double in years to come and become a really, really exciting aspect of our sport. We need more of this. People, relays are an exciting part of our sport on the track, so why not on cross-country?
A lot of the spectators hanging out there on the playground as Lisa Cross goes up what we've dubbed today Playground Hill. This is that reasonably steep
Pinch.
Nasty little hill, but Lisa has just made it look like a zero gradient.
Well, has she gone
very
up
impressive.
Yeah.
She's looking very smooth, a compact, efficient runner, and she's just got into her work. It was close running over the first 2K, but then she just took the race by the scruff of the neck and said, I'm not mucking around. I know that some of these girls behind me, the likes of Hannah Miller, of Kerry White, they can blast out the last kilometre or two, and I don't want it to come down to a kick. I want to make sure that I am well clear of those track speedsters. She's doing a great job.
Kerry White, your defending champion, currently sitting in third place behind Hannah Miller. Hannah Miller, of course, off to the World Half Marathon Championships in the next couple of months. So this is a great little hit out for her. Images of Lisa Cross coming up to finish. Where will this put her? 8 kilometres? 7 kilometres?
7 kilometres.
7 kilometres with 1 lap to go. Lisa Cross, a member of one of the newer clubs to join the Athletics New Zealand family, TTT Runners. Not only an athlete at that club, but also a coach. And we see a bunch, 3 Wellington runners all working together, rolling along, looking very good.
Yeah, Esther George running really well. Now, she took out the half marathon down in Christchurch, the reboot half marathon in time of 1:18.
Oh, wow.
So she's been having a good season, came second at the Wellington cross-country champs. But look at Lisa Cross. She's just got that really smooth, high cadence, just ticking the legs over, just ticking off the kilometres. And you can see there that pan, great work by our camera team, just showing that big gap back to Hannah Miller. So Hannah Miller, she actually did ballet up until the age of 18.
Oh, wow.
Switched over the focus to running. Managed to pick up a scholarship to Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas.
I'll throw in there from Southland, well coached by Lance Smith, former winner of the Arthur Eustace Coaching Award that Athletics New Zealand awards every year.
And she's working in strategic planning now at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So I want to know, is there some strategy coming into this last lap? Has she saved some matches ready for a massive last 3K to reel in the speedy Lisa Cross? Or has Lisa Cross just timed it to perfection?
Yeah, it's going to be.
Have to wait and see.
It's going to be an interesting last lap, especially up that hill. You got to say Lisa Cross has looked pretty comfortable so far. It's
quite impressive from Lisa because behind her, Hannah Miller, she ran a 1:12 half marathon, which is, it's right up there. That's my half marathon PB when I was at my absolute fittest. Very quick time. And Lisa Cross has just put, what are we at now, 150 metres? On a 1:12 half marathoner.
Yeah, well,
very impressive.
Lisa Cross, she's been involved in the sport for, I want to say, coming up 8-9 years now. But she was a latecomer to the sport, came into the sport in her 30s. She is very good, and I know at various stages in her career she was really keen to push on and try and make a major international team, like a World Champs or an Olympics. Little bits of injury niggles here and there have curtailed that, but make no mistake, she is a quality athlete. Speaking of quality athletes, it's that Wellington trio again, rolling very well.
Good to see them all working together. It makes a difference in a cross-country where you do have someone to tee off. So we see Olivia Whitney, Olivia Byrne formerly, and then behind her running really well is Caitlin Mcculken Bell. And so I believe she's Australian-based.
Yeah, Australian-based. Last time I checked, she was up in the North Queensland region. Does a little bit of coaching herself up there. Very well performed. I think she spent some time in the States, University of Florida. Bit of a steeplechaser, has moved down to the middle distances. So great to see her over here running in New Zealand. This is Natasha Bower from North Harbour Bays. You see on screen there, part of that Bays Babes, Paul Hamlin squad.
Lisa Cross, she's got about 1,800 metres to run from this point. The time is ticking down for the others to be able to chase her. Is that gap getting too far? She's running very wide on this corner. So here she comes. She will have one last hurdle to get over. And you can see just chopping her stride. Make sure she's over there cleanly. She'll have a little uphill, and then it's into the downhill section before she turns around to make her way towards home, where it's 1K to go from the bottom of the hill down near the river.
Yeah, and I said it at the top of the race when she made that move, Hayden. Lisa Cross is tough with a capital T, and I'm known for a little bit of hyperbole from time to time.
Never.
But it is 100% genuine. I got to know Lisa a little bit via our mutual friend John Bowden, and she is genuinely a very tough lady. You wouldn't want to cross her, get on her bad side, because she's very no nonsense. Calls a spade, but she loves her running, and part of what she loves about it is just pushing herself to her limits.
Good little battle here for second and third. And I think we should just make a rule, just blanket statement. If you have a national cross-country to your title, you can put in your CV and your LinkedIn bio, Instagram bio, just tough. You're
I've got a
verified tough, mentally, physically.
You should just get awarded an automatic PhD in toughness.
In toughness, yeah.
Is this what's happening here? Is it's slowly dawning on me that I wasn't tough, because I was terrible at cross country, and this is what was missing from the equation, clearly. So
yeah, we were talking before coming on air. There's some areas around this course that are attached to some significant portions of PTSD that are locked away in the psyche of Hamish Meacham. Fortunately, I haven't actually raced on this course, so I haven't experienced the joys and struggles that these hills have.
It is a good course. My lasting memory of this is rocking up as a 20-year-old thinking I was going to win my first Waikato Bay of Plenty title, only to be absolutely annihilated by 49-year-old John Campbell, who was at his prime. He was a 8th place finisher in the Olympic marathon and a multiple world masters record holder. But yeah, wow. It still stings. It still stings.
Yeah, look at Lisa Cross. She's coming down the hill, down towards the river. When she turns away from the river for the last time, it will be 1 kilometre to go. From last check, we worked out there's probably about 150 metres back to second place, who may be just Kerry White, just inching past Hannah Miller. Wonderful to see Kerry White running so well. You know, she's probably more known as a track runner, 800-metre runner, but she is running brilliantly on the cross country, both last year and this year, taking up the national title last year and now running in the silver medal position ahead of Hannah Miller.
And great to see. So she's another one like Laura Nagel, who spent some time, like Hannah Miller, spent some time in the States. She was at the University of Wyoming. She's come back, had a little bit of a break, but then got into it again. She's a vet nurse. Hayden, you've got all of the stats there, but you know the key thing is just recognising that life does not end upon graduation. If you go over and enter into that NCAA system, it's great to see these athletes continuing with the sport.
So Caitlin Mcculken Bell, hopefully I've got the pronunciation right. It might be Mcculken.
No idea. I have
Mcculken?
been for my whole life saying Caitlin McCallan Bell, which is clearly incorrect. So we're going to go with your pronunciation, Hayden.
All right. It's 1K to go now for Lisa Cross. 1 kilometre till she takes another senior women's national title. She won this event in 2018. Who would have thought the 39-year-old odds-on favourite right now to claim another senior women's cross-country title, and against the field that's lined up here. When I made my predictions, I put a line under her name, but that was one amongst about 8 athletes. I did not expect this sort of domination, let alone for her to have the lead at this stage of the race. She's played it strategically wonderfully well, and she has that nasty hill to go. Will that be the thing that can break her?
I doubt it very much, Hayden. Lisa Cross is looking very strong at this stage as she comes up to the playground. Shots here of Anika Fitzinger and an athlete from Wellington, Scottish. That is Emma Perron. And then Jess Wright from North Harbour Bays. Here's Lisa Cross through the trees.
You can definitely see she is fatiguing, but this is the stage in the course where it's perfectly fine to be fatiguing a little bit. There's that little downhill, and then she will make her way up Playground Hill for the final time. These women have to do it 4 times over.
Yeah, and it's great to see the gender equality entering into cross country. It used to be that women ran 8K and men ran 12K. Now both of them running 10K, which I like in two different ways, because I always thought 12K was too far, and I do like that the distances rather. Are the same.
I did notice they changed from 12 to 10K when I was running the 12K, so maybe I contributed to the need to bring it down to 10K, because I do recall keeping the marshals out quite a long time in the Wellington winter weather.
As much as you may like to take the credit, I think it lies with World Athletics.
All right, okay.
But, here she is, Lisa Cross, ticking over 35 minutes, coming to the last few hundred metres of this course.
This is going to be a solid time, because from here, it's about 400 metres left to run. So that's probably, a minute and a half at the absolute most. It's flat from here. And this is going to be an incredible time for Lisa Cross to be running 36 minutes something for 10K over constantly rolling hills. So here she comes. She's got 300 metres left to run. Lisa Cross, she opened it up after 2K, and she's held this lead absolutely wonderfully, the 39-year-old out of Auckland.
Yeah, great running, Lisa Cross. She'll be looking forward to finishing this race. She's been pushing hard since she took the lead early in that first lap. She's done it the hard way, forged out in front early, coming up around the corner. About 150 metres to go now for Lisa Cross.
Much like her Auckland teammate Christian Deval did in the under-20s. Really took this race by the scruff of the neck. She's coming into the last turn. She'll be able to look over her shoulder and be confirmed that Kerry White in second place is a long way away. And she can enjoy this moment, because when she won this title in 2018, she might have thought that might be the last senior title I will ever win. Well, here she is. She's a 39-year-old. She's back in the senior ranks, claiming a national senior women's cross-country title. Here she is, New Zealand. Here is your senior women's national cross-country champion. She puts her hands in the air, and so she should. That is a well-deserved victory for that young woman, Lisa Cross.
Great to see. She's not one to over-celebrate, so it is actually great to see her raise her hands there in victory. This one means a lot for Lisa Cross. Fantastic run, and she would have gone a long way to securing her spot for those 2023 World Cross Country Championships in Bathurst, Australia.
Kerry White coming into the finish now, getting the directions from the marshals. She will turn the corner. She played her move to perfection. With about 2K to go, she rolled past on the downhill, past Hannah Miller, who's sitting in third, and she will take silver, backing up a wonderful national title last year. That one might feel very sweet to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. She is the silver medalist this year. Gutsy run from her, and well-deserved bronze medal from Hannah Miller. Quality field from these ladies, all running very quick times.
And it looks like we've got a bit of a race on our hands for fourth position. So it's Olivia Whitney and Caitlin Mcculken-Bell who are going to be fighting it out. And in fact, it's Caitlin Mcculken-Bell coming into the home straight, who's going to secure fourth place here, the Australian-based Kiwi. Great to have her over for these championships. Fantastic run for the young Aucklander. And then Olivia Whitney securing fifth spot. Great to see her back on the scene in the royal blue of Auckland. Hayden's going to nip out and see if he can get a few words with our champion, Lisa Cross. We're 2 minutes away from a start in the men's competition, and waiting to see who's going to roll across and round out our top 10 for the ladies. Looks like a Wellington athlete coming through in sixth position. So that's number 203 out of Wellington, Sarah Drought. Well done to the 34-year-old Wellington champion. Olivia Ritchie from Canterbury. Very well done, coming through to secure seventh spot. That's great running. Member of the Don Gregg Racing Stable, part of the famous Ritchie running family, originally from Hamilton. And a good flurry of finishes here from Tasman. Anika Fitzinger in the top 10. And then that is the Wellingtonian Sarah Drought, I believe. And Esther George. Great flurry of Wellington finishes. Senior men's start list. Big field of senior men's ready to go today. Great to see Eric Speakman racing today. Eric, of course, rather unfortunately not able to secure his spot at the upcoming Commonwealth Games. Here's the field, and away the 2022 Athletics New Zealand Cross Country Championships, the senior men. It's going to be a ripper of a field. Some fantastic runners. We're going to cross to an interview soon. Hayden Sherman talking to our women's champion, Lisa Cross, but it looks like Daniel Balkin from Canterbury taking the lead early in this senior men's race. Some very interesting athletes that we'll talk about as the race goes on. Michael Sutton, the local runner, coached by John Bowden, loves to front run. So Michael Sutton leading, big pack of senior men. Sitting in there, Michael Taylor, the sub 4 minute miler, Tim Robertson, world orienteering champion. Julian Oakley, world indoor 3,000 metre finalist, national champion over the mile. We're going to cross now to Hayden Sherman, who's talking with your women's champion, Lisa Cross.
I have Lisa Cross, senior women's cross-country champion, and let's get back to 4 years ago when you took out this title. Did you think that you had another senior women's title in you?
Absolutely not. No, not really.
Yeah, and I asked you, like, you were with the pack in the first lap, and then it looked like you made a bit of a move, but you said you just came in to run one pace and do your race.
Yeah, that just seems to be how I run. So I just set off in the pace I start at. I usually just try and maintain. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you get a sense of what was happening behind you, or were you just focusing on your own race?
I kind of tend to just focus on my own race, but I did have a few people say, you've got 100 metres and stuff like that. So it did give me a chance to kind of regather myself on the flat bits and know that I've just got to keep maintaining. Yeah.
Now, this was a key selection race for Bathurst next year, the World Cross Country Champs. Is that a goal of yours?
Oh, absolutely. Like, if I could do something like that, it would almost be like I've had an amazing career, and that would just finish it off for me, yeah.
Icing on the cake. What's left to do this? Obviously, this is a big nod to the selectors. You mentioned you might need to run some fast 10Ks.
Yeah. So I think you have to run a sub 34.5 10K, which is completely manageable if I know what my target is. Yeah.
Based on how fast you ran this course, I didn't get the final time, but it was pretty quick for over this sort of terrain. What's next for you this winter? Have you got any other plans on the road or heading into the track season?
I don't. I was kind of going to do this run, and then I'll have a talk with the coaches and myself and reassess where to from here. Yeah.
And we need to talk about what does training look like when you're in your late 30s? What changes? How it's very impressive to be. Some of these girls are almost half your age, and you're putting a lot of distance between you and them. What's the secret for you?
Thanks for the reminder. So the only thing that's really changed is that I have to do my runs super early in the morning before the kids wake up, basically. Yeah. So if I don't get up early in the morning, I don't get my run because it's game over pretty much.
Yeah. Were the kids cheering you along on the course, or are they back at home watching?
They're back at home. I don't know if they're watching or not, but yeah.
They better be watching, guys. Come on. Your mum's just pulled off an amazing feat. So there we go. Well done, Lisa. Great run out there, and can't wait to see how progress goes towards Bathurst, and hopefully we see you putting on the black singlet.
Thank you.
Awesome. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the senior men's race, see how this unfolds. Thank you to Lisa Cross for joining us.
Thanks, Hayden. And we've got Cameron Avery from Canterbury, recently returned from Stony Brook University in the States, training towards his first marathon, which I think he hopes to plans to complete later this year. He's run pretty well this local track season over the longer distances, but a very, very good cross-country runner collegiately. So he's leading at the moment from Matthew Taylor, Julian Oakley. Big pack there, including Toby. How do you say Toby's last name? Golter. Tim Robertson, the orienteer, is in there. Daniel Belchin is in there. Matthew Taylor, of course, I mentioned, the sub-4 minute miler. Got two other Auckland athletes I need to identify. Do you know them from sight, Hayden?
Oh, I will need to double check, but I'm loving this from Cam Avery, just taking it out nice and hard. And look at this, all the boys that we expected to be there, right there. I can see Chris Dryden trying to stay on. He's the bronze medalist from last year. But look at this pack of 8 athletes, as we see Chris just trying to get back onto the shoulders of that little pack.
Yeah,
but
and
these boys are moving early.
Jacob Holmes, 275 in the blue, part of that lead pack. So there's one other Auckland athlete who I can't quite identify, the little forward lean on him there.
And you've probably mentioned already that Michael Voss and Eric Speakman are both no-shows, I believe, through COVID.
Gutted. Yeah, tough.
Partners and close contacts, all that kind of carry on. So that's really unfortunate. I'm sure they'll be watching. So really feel for Eric, who had his eyes on a spot at the Com Games, and that didn't quite eventuate. And now to miss out of this is really tough. So really feel for Eric sitting at home, and Michael, he just lives up the road, and he would have wanted to give this title a good nudge as well. But this field of 8 men up the front are really the top domestic runners outside of those two, and man, it is close to call, because you've got the marathon strength of a guy like Dan Belchin, who took out the New Zealand marathon title in his debut, and then you've got Toby Golter coming back from the States, running so well over there in the States, and then Julian Oakley. Can the 1,500 metre man, who's now proved himself as a 63-minute half marathon runner in his debut in the half marathon, can he prove that he is the toughest? This is such a wonderful meeting ground of all the different types of athletes. And the other, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because the next 25 minutes is going to be electric.
The other Aucklander who we couldn't quite identify earlier, Ronan Lee, first-year senior, out of the Pakuranga Club. And just off the back of this lead group is Christopher Dryden and Sam Walden, and Michael Sutton, your early leader, rounding out your top 10. So a pretty strong lead group. They will break up eventually, but it's about 6 in that lead pack at the moment. And it looks like Daniel Belchin, who at the moment looks like he might be the first one to drop off. Those two Aucklanders, Ronan Lee and Jacob Holmes, looking steady. The orienteer, Tim Robinson, in the Hutt Valley Harriers singlet, looking strong so far.
Yeah, so cool. You know, we often don't give the orienteers their due. We do have a lot of runners, particularly in the junior grades, who dabble with a bit of orienteering, and also in the masters grades. But it's not often that you see really top performing distance runners also in the orienteering and crossing between the two sports. So really cool to see Tim.
And just to identify him, that's him sitting in 5th place with the orange top half of his singlet. You've got to think, obviously orienteering is more complex than just running. There's this navigation component and, hugely challenging. I'm not going to try and underplay that by any means, but surely to be a world-class orienteer, it can't hurt to be a really, really fast runner. And
Yeah.
Tim Robinson today is out to prove that he's a really, really fast runner. He can kick it with these guys, and he is so far. So it's great to see.
So PB's at 13:54 in the 5K, 8:10 in the 3K. That's a good runner, no matter which way you look at it. As soon as you've got a 13 to your name for the 5,000 metres, you're amongst the elite here in New Zealand.
Yep.
And I believe he's based in Sweden at the moment, so not sure how life ended up with him over there. But this pack of 6 men are slowly dropping guys off the back.
Yeah, Jacob Holmes rolling off the back a little bit. Daniel Belchin struggling to hang on. It's Cameron Avery who's pushing the pace up as we round the corner at the top of the long hill.
And Cam Avery, he's one of those runners he's also run under 14 minutes, got a PB of 13:59 for the 5,000 metres, 29:14 for the 10K, and he recently came 4th at the Night of Fives back in March. And that was a really good, strong field. So that gives you an indication of the sort of form that he's rounding in now that he's back based in New Zealand.
Nathan C., number 500, the lawyer out of Wellington, running very well, just in that top 15 or so. Some very good athletes back there. Let's call them the very good domestic runners in the kind of top 20, 25 of this field.
Yeah,
guys
I think Nathan C., Wellington cross-country champ, just trying to find his name. Yeah.
Yep. So if someone like Nathan rolls down to your average park run, he's likely to break the course record depending on the race and, comfortably under 16 minutes for 5K. So, don't doubt there's quality all the way through this field. But quality in front, Cameron Avery leads from Matthew Taylor. Taylor coached by Chris Pallone. Toby Gaultier out of Eastern Washington University, home on his holiday. Great to see him running.
I think Eastern Michigan.
Michigan, sorry, yes. Yep. And Julian Oakley, of course, a member of sporting royalty in New Zealand, with mum being Dame Susan Devoy, but forging his own path in the distance running world. Yep. Tim Robertson looking strong in the Hutt Valley Harriers shirt, the orange there, noticeably a little more solid than some of these other guys, and the other Aucklander there, Ronan Lee. So it's a solid pack of 6, Hayden.
Yeah, Matthew Taylor second in this event last year, one of the Chris Pallone disciples around the country, and good set of lungs on this boy. And he's one of those athletes who, the moment you don't mention him, he will end up in the medals.
I know.
I remember when he arrived on the scene, what was it, like 2018 at the New Zealand Track and Field Champs, and he picked up a medal in the 1500.
Yeah, and he was having a crack at trying to get the World University qualifying time. I remember I think he missed out by like half a second or something like that. So he's been on the radar since then. He was initially very well coached by Mark Harris out of the Wairarapa. More recently has moved to Chris Pallone and has just continued to develop and improve. Sub 4 minute mile this summer, which was huge. He's not a natural speedster, so it was actually a really important milestone for him to get under. I think, he's yet to find his favourite distance. He's pretty good over 5. I suspect he could be very good over 10K, but I'll leave those decisions to Matthew and Mr. Pallone. Great lead pack here. Daniel Belchin still in touch to make it 7.
Yeah, this is going to be so interesting how it unfolds. These 6 athletes, Dan Belchin, as you say, just managing to stay in contact, national marathon champ, shows that he's got the engine to go the distance. But it's a matter of what sort of speed these boys put on, because when we're talking about packs, these guys are all capable of going well under 14 minutes for the 5K, well inside under 30 minutes for the 10K. The next pack behind them is sort of 14 minutes something for the 5K. So this is a tricky group to hang with in terms of the pace that they're able to go, and you can see just as they hit those little faster patches, Dan's just struggling to keep that bungee cord nice and taut.
And Cameron Avery obviously not doing any favours to his teammate. They may both be wearing red singlets, but Cameron Avery's just trying to string these guys out. In fact, I imagine Avery would be pretty happy if if he can whittle this group down to just the medalists. But yeah, it's really good to see. I'll mention it. Out of Eastern Washington, Toby Gaultier wearing the yellow of Wellington. So he's just completed, I think, his sophomore year at Eastern. What is it? Sorry?
Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. Apologies. So it's relatively uncommon for the athletes to come back home during the summer and run cross country, because generally you're pretty knackered from your season. You want to focus on your build-up.
Exactly.
Toby's rolled in with some great form, and so it's awesome to see him out here today. And also he wants to stake his claim for a spot on that team to World Cross Country. I heard through the grapevine there's some pretty big names who are putting their hat in the ring for that team. If you do well here today, you'll go a long way to securing your spot.
That will be a very hard team to make. When you think the likes of Sam Tanner potentially stepping up in distance. You've got guys who are US-based like Matt Baxter, Geordie Beamish, Hamish Carson, I'm sure we'll be looking at now that he's really stamped his mark in the 5,000 metres, making it to the world champs. We thought he was just a 1,500 metre runner.
Yep.
And then he goes and drops that 13:17. And maybe the Robertson boys will return back to the cross-country world, leave the roads for a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed. Possibly our two best performed cross-country runners in recent history. But all focus on Cameron Avery, who is happy doing his work out in front, leading these guys through. Coming up a hill, Matthew Taylor looking very strong in the royal blue of Auckland's. And Tim Robertson just quietly happy to sit in the back of this pack.
Now, this will actually be feeling quite warm out there because there's no breeze, and some of these really sheltered little sun traps, when you're driving up a hill, you will actually start to be heating up, particularly for our South Island athletes who've come north and
haven't seen the sunshine in the past 60 days.
And it's like, what? This is warmer than track nationals was back in Christchurch a few years ago.
Are we breaking up a little bit here? Or is it just
we might be
natural
losing
stretch?
One of our Auckland athletes off the back.
That's Ronan Lee, who's just getting stretched out a little bit in the back. I think the rest of the pack is pretty safe, but Cameron Avery is really making these guys work.
I'm loving this from Cameron Avery. He's really come here with intent. He wants to whittle this front group down as much as possible, and it almost looks like, is that Matthew Taylor just running with him, and the other three maybe starting to think that this pace by Cam Avery is getting a little bit hot, and as I say that, they come back up onto the shoulder of Matthew Taylor. So
it's like the rubber band effect. So the rubber band has been stretched and then compresses back together with this group of five, but the rubber band unfortunately has snapped for Ronan Lee, who you see to the left of your picture there. He is no longer in contact with that lead group. Can he hang on to a top 10 position, or is he pushed out too hard too early, the Aucklander?
So looking at the facial expressions, everyone looks pretty relaxed. If anything, Cam Avery looks like he's working, but as you would expect when you're the man out the front.
Yeah, makes them work up the hill, and then he's making them work down the hill as well. Young Cameron Avery, he's got to be, what is he, 24 years old? I remember, Hayden, we actually had him on, I think, the Kiwi Running Show, a podcast that you and I used to, you owned, and I used to help with.
He's a great interview. And
yes.
For the sake of the interview, I do hope that he can take the win, because he will be very entertaining. And maybe we just get him along for the interview because of all the work that he's doing up the front, really making it a race. As they come to this downhill section. So this is the first time they've hit this downhill section. So the first two laps were just the shorter 2K section. And this is where the wheels really get moving. As we see Nathan C., Wellington cross-country champ.
Yep, and that's Jack Payne out of Auckland just behind him. Damien Lardner, 307 from the Manawatu Wanganui region. Palmerston North, Fielding Moa.
Cam Avery putting a bit of pressure on these boys in the downhill. He's really, this is almost like a Tour de France stage where he's at the front and just continues to attack and attack and attack and see if the pack can stay with him. They reel in that little move that he put on, but certainly he's making these boys bleed. As the great Steve Prefontaine once said, they might beat me, but they'll have to bleed to do it. And Cam Avery has come with very much the Prefontaine spirit to this race.
Yeah, he is looking very strong, and it's fantastic to see he's making these boys work. These are some quality athletes. We knew this would be the 5 as Tim Robertson sweeps past into 4th, doesn't want to lose contact with these leading runners here. But, Cameron Avery, as good as he is, it is hard to imagine him breaking a guy like Julian Oakley, who over 5K is, 25 seconds quicker? So, yeah, really interesting. And, Matthew Taylor, sub-4-minute miler, Cameron Avery, maybe would have run something like a 4:08 mile, I would imagine. So, on the track, these guys are, I hate to say it, but objectively, they're better than Cameron Avery on the track. But Cameron Avery, over hill, up dale, on the rough ground, looking very strong, making these guys work.
The blue singlet and the red, orange and black of Waikato Bay of Plenty, they're the 2 singlets that you don't want to see on your shoulder when we get into that last kilometre or so. You want to make sure that the work is done before then. And look, it looks like there's a little bit of a gap forming. It looks like Toby is struggling to stay with it. He's at the back in the yellow. Tim Robertson's looking like he's struggling to stay with Matthew Taylor, and maybe Julian Oakley is the pressure being applied by Cameron Avery just too much.
It's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see when they come into our view, Hayden, exactly what that gap is, but it looks like it really has opened up. So the guys have tried to hang together for as long as they could, but the pressure from Cameron Avery looks like it has been too much. Tim Robertson in 3rd. It's Julian Oakley in 4th. Toby Gaultier back again in 5th. So it's not a huge gap. It's a 7-metre gap from Avery and Taylor back to the orienteer. Robertson with Oakley on his shoulder, another 5 metres back again to Toby Gaultier of Wellington.
Really impressed with Tim Robertson's performance. Running an orienteering race, it's broken up. You're looking at maps, you're coming into checkpoints, and it's not like the constant grind of a cross-country race. So this will be really a foreign feeling for an orienteer, but we know that he's been posting some wonderful times on the track and the road over in Sweden, where he's been based. And great to see him back here in New Zealand, probably with an eye to looking at Bathurst.
Well, he's a world champion in one sport. He just won the World Championships in orienteering, 22nd of July, so he's in peak orienteering form.
And that was the sprint event, for those who are wondering, the orienteering aficionados. I know nothing about the sport, but it was the sprint event.
If you're a world champion, it's, yeah.
I feel like it's about 5K, but I could be wrong. Okay, we got one lap left to run here. 3K left to run in the sun of the Spa Thermal Park here in Taupo. What a wonderful day of cross-country running we've had, and we're now into the last lap after all the action we've had, after all the medals we've handed out. It's down to this last 3 kilometres of running, and it is Cam Avery and Matthew Taylor pulling away from a star-studded field.
Yeah, both of these two looking very good. Cameron Avery's done the work to break up this pack, but not enough work to drop Matthew Taylor, the sub-4-minute miler, out of Auckland. It's down essentially to these two. We can't say that definitively. Someone could make a move. These two could potentially falter, but it is looking pretty solid, pretty likely that it'll come down to these two, with Tim Robertson about 15 metres back now, the orienteering specialist. And is that Matthew Taylor taking up a bit of the pace now?
Really impressed with this run from Matthew Taylor. Of course, last year's race was run by Ollie Chignell, who is, I believe, still overseas. He's had a great performance, ran under 28 minutes for the 10,000 metres at the night of PBs in London, and performed really well over in Europe, and was almost putting up his hand for a spot at the world champs in the Com Games. Just missed out on that, but I'm sure big picture will be Bathurst next year as we see them go over the set of hurdles for the last time.
Yep.
Looks like Tim might be putting a little bit of a gap on Julian, which he will definitely need to do, because we know the sort of kick that Julian has, current mile champ.
Yeah.
You want to get away from him at this stage of the race.
Yeah, a finalist at the World Indoor Championships over 3,000 metres, so he definitely has a great set of wheels. It's going to, I think, be really interesting, this last long hill. Cameron Avery's really used this long hill to great effect to stretch out these guys. If Cameron is to take this over Matthew, he's going to want to drop him before Playground Hill at least, right, Hayden?
Yeah, you do not want a 4-minute miler on your shoulder. Matthew Taylor's proved time and time again over the years in claiming many national medals, and just the fact that you've got a 4-minute mile to your name that you can kick with the best of them. So Cameron Avery, over he goes, over the final hurdle. From here, it's about 1,800, 1,900 metres left to run.
And it's a pretty simple equation for these two. Cameron Avery is saying, I need to break him. Matthew Taylor is saying, I can't let him break me. And that's what the National Championship is going to come down to for these two. The Cantabrian and the Auckland are a classic battle in New Zealand sport.
Absolutely. And there are the other element to a national cross-country champs that we haven't talked much about, and that's the team honours. So there are points for top centre.
Yeah, and the Cantabrians are going to do pretty well. The Aucklanders are going to have a few in the top 10, including this man, Ronan Lee, who was initially in that lead pack, still sitting in about 7th or 8th spot, I believe.
And is this a move by Cam Avery? Looks like a bit of pressure at the front here. This is definitely the time where you want to make something stick. Tim Robertson doing really well to hang and not let that gap grow too big. Looks certainly like he's put some distance on Julian Oakley behind him. But Cam Avery continues, as he's done the whole race long, just out the front, applying the pressure, attacking. We saw him at this stage, just on this little downhill section, put in a little surge and put a bit of distance on the guys. Will he try to do the same thing? Because he will want to shake the sub 4-minute miler, Matthew Taylor, off his shoulder. And Matthew Taylor has a silver medal from this event. He won't want to go home with a silver. He wants that gold. He wants that ticket to Bathurst. What a race we have on our hands over this last 1,500 metres.
Yeah, and it's to Matthew Taylor's credit that he hasn't dropped off so far. Cameron Avery is doing everything in his power to try and stretch him. There's a metre, there's half a metre there, Hayden. Is that it? Is that the gap? Down the hill, he is banking it, trying to give it everything he can. Again, you know, we say Matthew Taylor should have the kick, but you never know in cross-country when you've done over 9 kilometres of hard cross-country running. Who knows how good your kick is going to be. Yeah,
if you've made him bleed enough, there won't be any kick left in him. So this is certainly Cam Avery's plan of attack, as we see Toby Golter sitting in 5th place at the moment, not too far off the shoulders of Julian Oakley.
Tim Robinson looking very good out of Hutt Valley Harriers. I would have thought he may have even closed that gap a little bit, Hayden. It's pretty good.
It's looking pretty close. 20 metres? Looking really good from Tim Robertson, certainly running himself into a medal at this stage. But here we go, Cam Avery using this downhill. There's really 2 key moments where he can make Matthew Taylor bleed in this last stages of the race. One is this downhill section, and the next is Playground Hill. Will we see it come down to that hill, or will Matthew Taylor be able to pull it back once we get onto the flat section up here at the start-finish area?
Hasn't managed to drop him, so this is where Cameron Avery really strung out that lead pack just over 3 kilometres ago, but he still hasn't managed to drop the Aucklander Matthew Taylor.
1K to go from this point, so let's keep an eye on that. 28:25. Let's see what sort of time they run over this last kilometre. Most of it's uphill. They will need to absolutely lay out everything on the track. This could be the most important race of each of these boys' lives, because it could be a ticket to Bathurst for next year, and will be, for both of them, their first national cross-country senior title, if they can take it out. So a lot on the line over this last 800 metres. How's it going to play out? What's going to happen on this hill?
Yeah, and we're coming up to that infamous little, you call it a hill, I call it a pinch, Playground Hill. Could Playground Hill make all of the difference between these two men? Matthew Taylor now pulling up onto the shoulder of Cameron Avery. Very competitive running as they're lapping a couple of the athletes in this race.
Looking at turnover rate, looks like Matthew Taylor has got the cadence. He's got that heel lift. You can see the legs are just working a little bit more efficiently. Cameron Avery just grimacing a little bit. Here it is. This is the moment where we decide who is going to be the national champion. Matthew Taylor is running away with it. This could be decisive. Here he is. He's sniffing gold, Matthew Taylor, up the hill. What a move. He saved himself for this moment. Didn't need the last 400 metres on the flat.
Smokes.
What a move.
He's put 20 metres on him. Chris Pallone is buying the beers tonight if Matthew Taylor takes this. Looking very strong, the sub-4 minute miler out of Auckland's. Absolutely dominating move on Cameron Avery, who's led this whole race. He's made the race in many ways, the Cantabrian.
You can see how hard he's working. He is sucking in all the oxygen he can. But thumbs up. He knows he's got the kick. He knows that he's put in the work. What a run from Cam Avery to set up this race. But he has a 30-40 metre disadvantage behind this Aucklander, who is running away with the national title.
Absolutely steaming in. 250 metres to go. Matthew Taylor, great footage from the drone. The Stream Shop have brought us some amazing scenes today. And here it is, the culmination. Matthew Taylor rolling around 150 metres to go, Hayden, to collect his first national cross-country title. What do you have to say?
How on earth did he have the energy? He had no right to put that much distance on the race leader at the time. Up that hill, up Playground Hill, because here he comes round the corner to claim his first ever national cross-country title. Matthew Taylor, it was silver last year. It will be gold this year. What a run from this man. Timed to perfection. Puts the finger in the air. Well done, Matthew Taylor. And this man, he will take home most aggressive runner for the day and take home a well-deserved silver medal. Cameron Avery coming into wonderful shape. And let's talk about this man, Tim Robertson. He has arrived on the New Zealand distance scene. He's been doing the work over in Sweden, doing the work in the orienteering. Here he comes back home to New Zealand to claim a senior national cross-country title. Toby Golter in the painful position of 4th place, but still wonderful run from him. That will be a great training outing for him as he looks towards a cross-country season over there at Eastern Michigan. Julian Oakley, 5th place. Wow, what a race.
Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. You'll have to head out for the interviews, Hayden, and potentially wrap us up from there as we call in the rest of the top 10. Looks like Ronan Lee from Auckland, so Auckland looking very good. Here comes Jacob Holmes, I believe, looking very good for the team's race, the Aucklanders.
Yeah, really good running there from the Auckland team, and big sprint finishes. Love this. How good.
So visiting Japanese athlete being picked by Sam Walden. So that is...
Is that Shogo Watanabe?
Yeah, it is. Running in the Wellington Scottish colours. Fantastic stuff. And here is Daniel Belchin, who was part of that initial leading pack. Yeah, so what an amazing afternoon of action, Hayden.
Well, it shows the quality of this field to think that a 2:15 marathon runner just got absolutely blitzed by, eight guys ahead of him. So, look, New Zealand distance running is in very safe hands. And I guess to sum up what we've seen today, just guts and determination. And from tactically, it's going to show Melissa Moon, the goat over the mountains, has proved that philosophy of pacing yourself, really just judging the effort over the full race, understanding that the hills, the ups and downs, the terrain takes its toll. You need to be patient to make that move. And what a move it was from Matthew Taylor. Just beautiful running over that last 500 metres.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And it will be interesting to see over the course of the next 6 months how the selections for those World Cross Country Championships in Bathurst play out. I know the selectors are looking at a range of things, including your time on the track over the longer distances, the 5K and the 10K, but the performances here today will clearly stick in the selectors' minds. So pretty exciting stuff here from Spa Thermal Park in Taupo. And don't forget, we're back here again tomorrow, 9 a.m, Hayden.
Yes,
the
indeed.
Team Cross Country Relay.
Be sure to tune in, ladies and gentlemen. Get your fix at the Com Games tonight, and we will be back in the morning. I'm going to go out and grab this interview. So, Hamish, I'll leave you to wax lyrical about what an amazing day we've just had.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hayden. Head on out. So, yeah, it has been great to bring the National Cross Country Championships back to Taupo. So we see the scenes from the mix zone there. Nathan C., the Wellington champion. A couple of Manawatu, Wanganui athletes there. Great to see the diverse representation across New Zealand. All of our regional athletic centres and some of our clubs represented. Wellington athlete in bare feet. Kudos to that man. Sunglasses and bare feet. I like the combination. Still streaming in here. We're getting into the 20s. A pretty big field of about 35 today. And again, worth emphasising the quality throughout the field. It is the cream of the crop, the best of the best who are here at the National Cross Country Championships. Fantastic win in the senior men's race from Matthew Taylor, the sub 4 minute miler. It'll be great to see what's next. I imagine what's next will be the World Cross Country Championships, all but having sealed his selection with today's run. Huge thank you to the local organising committee from the Athletics Waikato Bay of Plenty Centre. They've done a great job in preparing the course and the setup for today. A little bit of a tent city, but it's done a great job. Fantastic to see the camaraderie amongst these athletes. And many of them will be back tomorrow for the inaugural cross-country relays, which we're really looking forward to bring to you here on the Sky Sport Next platform. Hayden and I will be back in action again. And speaking of Hayden, we're going to cut over now. Hayden's going to interview the top 2 finishers from our senior men's competition.
All right, here we are with the senior men's cross-country champion for 2022. Last year, Matt, it was a silver. This year, it was a gold. How good does that feel?
Yeah, pretty fantastic. That was kind of the goal, to go one better, and couldn't have done it with better company here in Cam, my training partner down south, so it's good.
Wicked. Now, you're both coached by the same coach. What was your coach, Chris Pallone, shouting at you? Because I know that Cam Avery was catching a bit of grief for pacemaking his teammate to the national title. But what was the plan going in?
Well, the advice was just to settle down a little bit and ease into it. Cam's done a great job out in front. I think we did pace it nicely throughout and sort of slowly spread everyone out and then kicked on for the finish. But instructions going in were just, I don't know, the strength was there, the fitness was there. I hadn't done any races before. This is the first cross race of the season, so I didn't know too much what to expect. But yeah, just keep it calm and sort of get on with it.
Talk us through the sort of hill training you did, because that we've called it playground hill, just coming up that last little pinch. That's where the move went on, and it looked like you're full of energy. You're probably dying on the inside, but what an amazing move that was. Have you been focusing on the hills over the winter?
Yeah, I really enjoy the hills. Do a few hill strides, and long runs are usually hill based, so plenty of elevation down around the Port Hills down south, which I've loved. Coming from, did a lot of running in Riverhead up north, which also got a bit of elevation, but Port Hills is something else. Certainly bites pretty hard halfway through a long run, and it seems to have paid off.
Cool. Now, is Bathurst next February on the cards for you?
Oh, it's definitely a goal, yeah. It's been a goal for 3 years now. Every time it gets pushed out, sort of shuffled on another year, focus again. So, really good to get the win and hopefully get the time later in the year and get a spot.
First national cross-country title, hopefully first of many for you?
I hope so.
Yeah. Now we'll bring in your training partner Cam Avery, who we're going to give the award for most aggressive runner, because that was some good front running. Tell us what your coach was telling you.
Well, he was basically threatening to chop my balls off if I didn't slow down, and I had to tell him after the second lap. It wasn't like we were really pushing that much off the front. It was just on the downhills, just letting my legs go and just letting it flow, and everybody else seemed to just fall away apart from Matty T. So I had to tell him, I was like, I'm not actually pushing that hard, coach. It's not that hot. Don't worry about it. But he still came for me at the end. But any day, this is 2 years back to back where Clemons boys have gone 1-2. Last year was Ollie and Matt. This year it was Matt and I. And I mean, cross country, good, not bad for a cross country debut, was it, back?
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's pretty impressive. And as I said, really gutsy run. What plan for you coming up? Where are we headed to? What's next on the cards?
Well, everything now, I guess, was all hinging on today. So I know Maddie and I are both really keen to get named in that Bathurst squad. It's going to be really tough, obviously, with so many people, but we can only aim. I think next it's just going to go Bathurst is on the cards, hopefully. If that's the race that is coming up, Zatopek 10K probably in December. Just restructure everything around that. But yeah, nothing else really in the immediate future, I don't think. Maybe some beers tonight.
Yeah, celebration, I think, is up first.
Awesome. Now, just amazing entertainment for us and for the viewers back home watching you guys battle it out. Slowly whittling down the field to it was just the two of you. Are we going to see you both back in the morning for a relay? Are we going to get a relay out of you?
I've been trying to throw a Bays team together, so hopefully you can.
I'm really keen to run it. It's just whether or not we can scavenge together enough people from Christchurch Avon. But I think both of us will probably be here in the morning, no matter what.
And is Coach shouting the cold ones tonight?
Sounds like I'll be shouting his.
Yeah, I think we'll be shouting below.
All right, okay. We know how it works in the squad. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, boys, for the entertainment, for the action out there. Well done on the national title, silver medal. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in here at Spa Thermal Park. It's been a wonderful day of cross-country running. Thank you to the local organisers, Taupo, Harriers, and thank you, Athletics New Zealand, for putting on a wonderful event. We will see you back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for the mixed team relays.
Has been helping Kiwis strive for sporting success for over 20 years. As New Zealand's leading insurance broker, we can also support you when it comes to your insurance. Expert advice and local service. Talk to your local Aon insurance broker today.